Hi there, hello, and welcome to City Climb, where we take a look at our favourite climbing cities, sing its praises and tell you why we love it.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Ness.
And today we're here to tell you all about Sheffield!
Sheffield is known as the climbing capital of the UK, and it's not hard to see why. It has no less than 5 major climbing centres, easy access to the Peak District, and some of the best outdoor climbing in the country.
And best of all, there are literally thousands of site climbers like us, so no wonder people have been coming to Sheffield to train, climb, party for many years now.
So let's take a look at the indoor climbing walls. We're here at the Foundry Climbing Centre, which opened over 30 years ago and pretty much launched modern day climbing.
There is just so much history here. Probably most famous is the unique wave bouldering wall, which is as well loved today as it's ever been.
So on the other side of the history spectrum is the Hangar, Sheffield's newest climbing centre. And like every other wall in Sheffield, it's buzzing with climbers from beginners to experts.
As well as this, we have awesome walls with its lead, speed and bouldering. We have the ultra-modern depot, and finally our personal favourite, the climbing works.
Truly Sheffield, you're simply spoiling us. So as a climber, why do you love Sheffield?
I just love the whole community of it. There's so many people that you see every day, and like everybody knows everyone, so you always have someone to go climbing with. And of course the Peak District is just right there. So if it's a nice day, you can just nip out before work and have a great time.
How important do you think the Sheffield climbing scene is?
Well, I'd say Sheffield is the mecca of UK climbing.
Yeah.
I've been climbing for around 7 years in Sheffield now, and everybody's really friendly and it's just a lovely place to be.
So how do you find the walls in Sheffield?
I mean, I've really been enjoying climbing recently. I've had membership for about a month and a half, and I've been coming like every other day, kind of 3-4 times a week. Yeah, it's really good.
Indoor, outdoor? What about outdoor climbing?
Well, you have come to the right place. The Peak District is right on our doorstep and has more brilliant climbs closer to more people than you could shake a clipstick at.
This BMC guidebook has some of the best climbing on gritstone, and these two hold more than 3,000 traditional and sport climbs on limestone. Mind-blowing.
So for gritstone, the easiest place to get to is right here, the beautiful Burbage Valley, just on the outskirts of town, an easy 20-minute bus journey from the city centre. And once you hop out of the Fox House, you are on the doorstep to 700 brilliant climbs, from moderate to E10, and 300 boulder problems from the easiest to the very hardest.
Oh wow, should keep you busy.
Should keep you busy.
And for sport climbing, it's only a quick hop down the hill to Horseshoe Quarry, with over 250 climbs in the 5s, 6s and 7s.
Now, if you're venturing outside for the first time, be sure to check out the BMC Respect the Rock video series. These short films give you a little heads up into some of the things to consider before taking your first steps outside.
So a great way to start getting outside is by joining a club. And today, we're joined by Jen, the president of the Peak Climbing Club.
So Jen, what could we get out of joining?
So it's a really good opportunity. It's sociable, you can get out and organise meets, you can learn new skills, and it's all about joining the community.
Oh, sick. And can anyone join?
Absolutely. Whether you're starting out, it's for everyone. Everyone's welcome.
Oh, I think we're definitely sold. So we are joined by BMC Ambassador Molly Thompson-Smith. So Molly, what attracted you to Sheffield?
Well, I moved up from London a couple years ago, mainly for the climbing community and to be close to the Peak District.
Oh, nice. And so how are you finding it so far?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm still here. It's much easier to focus on my training for the World Cups, and it's just a slower pace of life compared to London, which is really enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this seems like a definite recommendation from Molly.
So there you have it, a little taste of what Sheffield has to offer if you're a climber. For more information about the walls, climbing outside, the clubs, and all the work the BMC do, be sure to check the link in the description.
We've been living and climbing here now for 4 years, and we've got to say that for us, it's a thumbs up Sheffield.
I think I joined the BMC when I was about 11 years old, so I could compete for, or try to compete for GB and enter all my regional competitions that I was so excited to do. I also think the BMC could improve EDI by making climbing more accessible for all sorts of people, for example, families with low income or people in the city who just don't have access to the outdoors or don't see it as a place for them. The BMC ensures that we can all have access to climbing crags across the country and that everyone using them is looking after them. They're clean and the rock is in good quality, so that's really important to me as an outdoor climber. And then for competitions, they ensure that I can get away and actually be insured whilst I'm competing, which not many insurance companies actually do, so that's really important to me. And lastly, they are really keen on promoting diversity within climbing, and it's so nice to work with an organisation that shares the same passions as I do and has the same ideals and visions for where climbing should be. I hope as a BMC ambassador I'm able to be a role model for those people who might not see themselves looking the same as other people within the climbing community. So hopefully I'll be able to reach a new audience for the BMC, but also speak to their climbers who've been going for a long time. I think climbing has changed already quite a lot because of the Olympics. There are loads more climbing walls across the country, and also I think the style is changing so that even the easier boulders are a lot more fun and interesting and more like comp style, so people can really have a go at what they've seen at the Olympics at their local gym.
If I'm setting a comp, the first thing you do is you choose your holds. And having good holds, stuff that is inspiring, stuff that is different, that doesn't look the same as everybody else's, is always the key thing. So as setters, if there's something new, there's something exciting, something we haven't seen before, something that we haven't played with, that we want to experiment with, then that's kind of what inspires us. You say like a route setter is like a conductor with an orchestra, and they've got lots of different stuff. They've got a climbing wall, they've got holds and volumes, and the idea is to bring it all together to make something which is beautiful.
Nice, mate. Come on. Come on. Come on. Hold it. Come on. Yes. Get on it. Come on. Come on, Ian. Yes. Yeah. Yeah!
warm welcome to Devonshire Green in the heart of Sheffield city centre for this semi-final round of the British Bouldering Championships 2023. We are live over the next couple of hours to bring you the semi-final round. That means 19 men and 19 women today will be battling it out on the mats for a place in tonight's final. I'm Mike Langley, and alongside me for the duration here today, I'm very pleased to say I have ex-British Bouldering Champion, World Championship finalist, amongst many other things, Michaela Tracy. Michaela, this is an outdoor venue. We're under a large tent, but the weather is not looking great, but potentially, well, not great for spectators, but pretty good for bouldering.
Yeah, you could say that, although it is a little bit damp. So, yeah, the holes might get a little bit greasy out there.
And Michaela, obviously, normally would expect 20 competitors. We've got 19 here, so one in each category. Didn't start today. It's just speculation why those guys didn't make it. Potentially an injury from the kind of brutal qualification round yesterday. But normally, with a semi-final round, things start off a little bit slower and we ramp up as we go through, and we will have 8 climbers on the mats as we go across. You've been in this position many times before. How do you normally approach a semi-final round?
Yeah, the semi-final round actually is probably my favourite round because the boulders tend to be really hard, and also you have that really hectic format of 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off. I think the qualification is always a little bit nerve-wracking because you just really need to make it through. I mean, if you're feeling confident, like, you'll be able to get through. You don't need to climb that well, but in the semi-final round, like, you really need to pull it all out and do as good a job as you can.
If you have just joined us, that is our schedule for today. Obviously, we are about to get it underway in just a couple of minutes' time at 10 a.m. this morning. 4 blocks for each of the categories to go through, 5 minutes on each boulder. That means they come out. They haven't seen these boulders before. Come out, have a go. Over that 5 minutes, head back behind the wall into an isolation zone for 5 minutes rest, and then try on the next boulder. And Michaela, quite an interesting field here this year. Obviously there's competing calendar events here for a lot of the British team. They're out in Switzerland at the Villars Leadwell Cup, and if you were to tackle this, there's a whole bunch of interesting names in there that we really can't quite predict this one at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a shame because there are definitely a few names which are missing, like Toby Roberts, Max Milne, Hamish MacArthur for the men, and also some of the stronger juniors will be at a junior event as well. But at the same time, there are some really interesting people that I didn't necessarily expect to be competing, such as Tyler Lamlin, who is one of the strongest climbers I know, and he used to compete more when I was competing. Hasn't competed in a while because he's been busy doing, I think, training to become a doctor, but he's back this year, and he was looking strong yesterday.
And other big names on there who are sort of ex-British team now, who have potentially sort of retired, as it were, from the main stages of international competing. I'm looking at names like Billy Rydell, Nathan Phillips, a lot of really heavy hitters in there, but obviously you've got the young guns in there as well. People like Jack McDougall. Louis Parkins is always a little bit of an unknown as well, obviously very well known on social media, but an incredibly talented climber, struggled at previous British Championships, but yeah, it's a really interesting one, this one. And yeah, it's hard to know how this one's going to go. Let's have a look at the women's category. And same again in some regards here, but Holly Tootill potentially one of the big favourites here.
Yeah, I think it would be very hard for any of these competitors to beat Holly Tootill. She is a really strong climber, has a lot of experience on the international stage, and I think pushed really, really hard for the win last year, and I think she's back and she wants that this year.
First competitors are out on the mat, which we're very pleased to say that this semi-final round of the British Bouldering Championships 2023 is underway. Mike Langley here in the commentary booth alongside Michaela Tracy. Michaela, you're going to be talking us through the ins and outs of each of these boulders, the thrills and spills. I'll be generally keeping an eye on the running order, the time, and what is going down amongst the athletes. We're going to be trying to pull in a couple of route setters and a few other people as we go through this round, just to kind of have a little bit of an insight closer to the mats. Route setting team here, really big team. Let's hope they've put together a spectacular tour that gets the results we need to get down to those finalists.
So the climbers out today, or right now, Conrad is a strong junior climber. He has been on the junior team in the past. He's also a member of the Catalyst Creatures team, and I think now he coaches with that team. Yeah, I don't know if he made semi-finals last year, and he's made semi-finals again this year, so...
Well, what's interesting there, you mentioned the Catalyst Creatures team, that's a London-based coaching association, and their main coach, Louis Parkinson, is actually going to be on the mats as well later on, so potentially they'll be exchanging notes. On the women's side, we've got Jessica Claxton-Daniels joining us. Both of these guys have got unlimited attempts. They can use as many attempts as they like over this 5-minute period. Do have to just figure out how to start these boulders. And Michaela, women's one potentially slightly interesting starting position there that Jessica's attempting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's how I would start that boulder, but actually she looks like she's making it work, and I think that it could work that way. I think that possibly there might be a more dynamic idea in mind where you could sort of hold the holds the other way around and flip outwards, but I think actually she could make that way work.
Yeah, this is that other hand sequence you were talking about. That does seem to be working a little bit better for her. Hasn't controlled that next position. So each of these boulders has a 4-point start. That's marked in 4 pieces of green tape. 2 flashes of tape indicate your 2 starting hand positions, and 2 flashes of tape indicate your foot starting positions, or your feet, I should say. Higher up on the boulder, usually around halfway, but not always. There's a big stripe of orange tape that indicates the zone hold. That's a scoring position. And the next stripe of tape is green, is the top. That's also marked with a big top disc. So we shouldn't be getting too confused where the starting zone and top positions are. Scoring is based on number of attempts to zone holds and number of attempts to the top hold. So attempts do become crucial if the competition gets tight in terms of the number of tops. We'll be talking you through it as we go along. Semi-final round tends to start quite slowly, so we'll start introducing you to the scoreboard as some scores coming in, and we'll work through this together here in Sheffield city centre this morning.
Yeah, it's always this way with a semi-final round. I mean, the field in the semi-finals is pretty broad, with a level of experience, with some really experienced international competitors alongside some youth and people who haven't done that much outdoor competing before. So it can be a little rough at the beginning.
Quite an isolating experience potentially as well. You're on the mats on your own. Later we have climbers across all of the 8 boulders, but yeah, you've qualified in last position to get into the semi-final, and then you have to deal with the big stage all on your own. And we talk a lot in route setting and competition organising about the style of boulders when you come out straight away, and a lot of the time the competitors tend to, you disagree with me if you like, Conrad has to go onto a sort of a teetery slab to start when you're full of nerves.
Yeah, this was just what I was thinking when I was looking at this boulder. I think that I would hate to see this boulder as my first boulder, because you're in the back, you're warming up. There isn't really that much slab in the back to warm up on, so it's quite difficult to warm up for this kind of boulder. And suddenly you have to just focus entirely on your feet. And I think when you're really nervous, it's quite easy to get into wanting to pull really hard with your hands, but obviously you can't do that on this boulder. He just needs to trust in his feet. And probably walk along that volume a little bit more, which is not what he wants to do, because as he walks his feet across, the hold gets worse because his feet have to be closer to the wall. But I think he needs to go a little bit further on in order to reach that zone hold.
Stage is definitely set here in Sheffield city centre, Devonshire Green. It's an open space sort of right in the middle of the city. Michaela, are you still Sheffield based?
I am not Sheffield based at the moment. I have moved to Woburn, which is a village just outside of Milton Keynes.
Obviously you know Sheffield pretty well, lots of competitions here in the past. It's kind of known as the heart of climbing, and personally I'll disagree being from London, but we'll leave that argument for another day. But the stage is set for a really good day, and the crowd has braved the initial rain here in Sheffield, and the sun looks like it's creeping out from behind the clouds, and we're really hoping for a good couple of hours of semi-final climbing here.
Yeah, I think we'll see the crowd fill out as the semi-final goes on. We get more people on the wall.
Tommy Miles will be joining us on the far left-hand side of the wall, alongside Catherine McDougall.
Catherine McDougall, she was from a strong climbing family. Jack McDougall is also her brother, who's competing in the men's event, and her sister Faye McDougall is in Innsbruck at the moment, competing in the youth competition there.
Whatever they're having for breakfast, that family, sign me up.
I think Catherine is a very, very good climber, but she's struggled with some injuries in her shoulder which are hard to understand. So I think on these power boulders she might not be able to show her best, but you'll definitely see her come onto her own on the technical boulders further down the wall.
Yeah, you can see there, wearing number 39, Catherine McDougall. We call that double shoulders in that starting position, both holds facing inwards, gastons, if you like. Climbing terminologies, we'll definitely be spieling plenty of that out, and we won't be holding back on that as we go through the round. Keep up with us as you can. Lots of good words in climbing. If you're not familiar with the sport, it might sound a little bit jargony, but that's all part of the nature of bouldering. But yeah, double shoulders and then flicks out into a pair of opposing slopers. She has found that alternative method that we saw Jessica just trying there as well in that starting position, just leaning away from the starting positions rather than using those two gastons.
Yeah, it makes it work. I mean, she really didn't want those double shoulders. I think if you're a little bit taller as well, you don't even need to jump for that second bit. It's I think being a little bit taller has positives and negatives, but especially in the women's round, sometimes it is possible to just reach past moves because that's that for people who are a little bit smaller.
Yeah, that's right. There is a strong route setting team here, lots of experience of all different shapes and sizes, and they will try their best to make a universal competition that's fair across the board.
I think we have a little bit of a change in the route setting team this year from last year. Some more of the new guard setting.
Yeah, fresh faces, route setters actually surrounding our commentary position here, all of them looking particularly nervous, some of them not as experienced as others. There's a bit of a mix in there, but there's some of the younger guys really watching on slightly nervously as they see their creations tested.
Yeah, I mean, it is always I mean, I've never route set for a major competition, but it is always difficult because you could try and think about everything, but a climber will always manage to find a way around something that you've spent 10-20 minutes trying to make work.
First initial efforts from Catherine McDougall there with 1 minute 30 on the clock still remaining here in Sheffield. She did get through that initial second move, and then there's a sort of big move out to the right hand side on those red sloping volumes.
I wonder maybe if she wants to go a little bit more dynamically through that movement rather than trying to stop on the second hold, because the way that her body moves when she tries to do the second part of that movement into the jug, her hips are swinging outwards, so it's taking her off the wall.
Commentary position here is quite unique for some of the competitions I've been to, where the competitors literally right in front of us, eyeball to eyeball. Really interesting to read all the various emotions, especially from some of the younger competitors. They sit with their backs to the next boulder, so they can't see what's going on the wall behind them, and we just have to stare down. They stare into the crowd as they prepare for their next 5-minute rotation.
That men's one first slab looks pretty miserable. I think I foresee a lot of misery on this slab, and it's only going to get worse as the round gets on, because every time a competitor's feet slip down the volume, it just gets a little bit worse.
And in terms of worse, we're talking about rubber build-up and the conditions deteriorating on the volume.
Rubber build-up, also some of the filler on the volume paint, it can get taken away, so you just end up with paint. Not what you want.
Welcome to the stage, Oscar Phillips and Amy Rafferty.
Oscar Phillips is also from a strong climbing pedigree. He is the brother of Emily Phillips, who has won this competition in the past. She's not competing this year.
Good knowledge coming from our on-site expert Michaela Tracy here, who has won this competition in the past. As mentioned, Oscar Phillips joins us out on men's number 1 on the far left-hand side. And Amy Rafferty on the right. as we start to have a look at our first climbers on boulder number 2, men's 2 on the left and women's 2 on the right. That's just to the right hand side of Amy there. As this competition progresses, that's our first shot of the semi-final boulders. Men's 2, you can see with the yellow and purple volumes there, and the orange holds is women's 2. Climbers working their way today left to right across this wall. By the time we get to climber number 20 on the far right hand side, we'll have a really good idea of who has made this final. Interesting starting position there from Conrad. It looks like a 1, 2, 3. We call that a paddle dyno.
Yeah, that's
from Jessica.
either a big shoulder move on that paddle dyno, or maybe you want to go all the way over onto the zone hold. Hard to say.
We do drop into the quad screen now as we work our way through. We've got 4 bowls to keep an eye on here at once. It does tend to get a little bit hectic during the semi-final, but we will do our very best to keep you up to speed with each of these boulders.
This is Amy's first time in the semi-final, Amy Rafferty. Last year she finished one place out of semis, but good to see her this year in the semi-final.
Just on the 2 right-hand side screens, you can see Conrad, who was first out today, attempting boulder number 2. You can see he's just figuring out this sort of paddle dyno. Starting position is quite high with the left hand, quickly tap into the hold above it and then fly across to the zone hold out left. That's what we're expecting, but there are rumours amongst the route setting team that people might be able to try it in different methods. Time will tell. Long way to go here in this semi-final round.
Yeah, are they thinking about maybe you can try feet first?
Wouldn't want to give the game away, Michaela. We shall see. Every time Conrad comes off, you can see it there, just as he hits the mat, straight looking at the fingertips. Not what you want to see early on in the semi-final round, Michaela, a real scraper.
Conrad has a very bad skin, yeah, which is not very good as a competition climber. Of course, now if you're bleeding, you can't continue to climb. You need to tape up because you're not allowed to leave blood on the wall. Back in the day, it was fine. Just bleed all over the wall. Chuck some chalk in it. Be all right.
Stick some chalk in it, crack on, the words of a true competitor. Nice work here for Amy Rafferty as she works through up to the zone hold on women's number 1. The first climber we've seen successfully get through the lower moves. Are we in for a shout on the lower top here? This next move does look particularly tricky though, as she pushes up and does drop off after the zone hold.
Yeah, she looked good on that dynamic move though.
Cameron lining up for another 1, 2, 3 across the wall, doubles into the zone as action all around us starts to kick off. Another good effort here from Amy Rafferty wearing number 15.
Yeah, she fits into that space really well.
She has just got 10 seconds left. We will try and get a clock up for you at some point as this round, rotation of this round comes to an end. The next 5 minutes does start, and you can see the competitors there just on the bottom left-hand side of your screen grabbing their gear. Some of them will be resting now for 5 minutes. A new rotation starts, and some will be working their way on to number 2. Commentary position here, Michaela, we're right in front of the boulders, but we're also right next to the speakers, so the atmosphere for us is definitely building, but the crowd behind us is a couple of rows deep now. Obviously it's pretty early on a Sunday morning here in Sheffield. Just as We see the action on the wall, wearing 104. Tommy Miles makes that first move work.
Yeah, he's going for that first feet first method that I was talking about, or as a potential option.
Big effort here from Tommy, pushing it through.
So our new climbers coming out, we just see for the first time on the split screen. Qualifying a little bit out of position, I would say, is Thea Cameron. Thea is a very strong climber from sort of Preston Way. I think she's been close to finals before, so I don't think we've seen the best of Thea yet.
Yeah, Thea's one of those competitors who I've seen in quite a lot of the major events recently, so this could give us a really good indicator as she works her way through up to that zone hold on women's number one. Really great start here from Thea. This could be a good indicator as the difficulty of the round, with one of the higher ranked athletes coming out quite early in this semi-final round as she pushes towards the penultimate hold there. Just
nice,
really
nice
good control. Yeah, good knee scum on the left knee, really good control in the right heel. Works her way towards the finish hold. Good work, and you called it, Michaela. Good early top from Thea Cameron.
Yeah, I think, like sometimes I actually never really did that well in the qualification round. I think if you've been training a lot, sometimes you want to take a couple rest days before, and then you feel a little bit rusty for the qualification. You just have to make it through, and Thea's done that, and then she's pulled out the bag here. So, well, it's a long round to go. Long round to go.
Just looking into our bottom right-hand side of the screen here. Catherine McDougall works her way through the zone hold, potentially pushing for a top here on women's two. Really crimpy, kind of old school rock holds here, but brand new set from the Rock City. That sort of Fontainebleau style carving of holds, and yeah, nice little top there. So women's two definitely looking doable at the moment.
Yeah, she made that look pretty easy. Strong on the crimps. I think maybe for women's too, it's just a question of like maybe you'll lose a few attempts on the first move because it's that run and jump, and then kind of once you get through that, if you're strong, you probably can do the boulder.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to see a lot more of those orange holds on women's number two as the round progresses, but it's an interesting mix of a running jump start, which we would associate a lot more with modern competition climbing, but also some dirty crimping up there as well.
Well, I think it's nice in this round. It looks like so far they've not had too much show climbing. Like most of it seems to be real climbing, with maybe a little bit of dynamic sort of modern style mixed in there. I think sometimes competitions can get a little bit too much with the jumping, and then it's not really climbing, but this looks like it has a bit of both.
Let's have a look here at Tommy as he's had a huge rest with 1 minute and 10 seconds ish still to go as he pushes through this next hole. This is where he got to before, the right hand up, and you can see how he's straining on that lower section just to gain the height. This next move is a really hard push up though.
Yeah, I mean that hole is not very good. I think it's a foothold that he has with his right hand.
It's a foothold screwed on as a handhold.
Basically, yeah. The handholds aren't bad enough, so they used a foothold.
This is the British Championships after all.
Yeah, some of these climbers are very, very strong. Oh, on the left, that is not Oscar Phillips on the left.
Yeah, with a last minute jiggle with the start list just as this competition, literally just as we got underway, with two climbers not making the isolation cut off. Just throwing the paperwork upside down and around the corner slightly. Daniel Smith on the far left hand side on the struggle bus that is men's number one. A lot of running and popping into that starting position, but no luck on that boulder whatsoever at the moment.
I think we're going to have to wait a little bit of time to get a top on this boulder. We've got some really good slab climbers coming up, but a little bit down the order.
Next rotation in the men's category, it'll be 46. It's Stephen Keir, and the women's Jessica McGarry.
Quite a strong contingent from Ireland here. Jessica McGarry is also from Ireland.
Would you say that the Irish contingent has been building up in the last few years? The scene over there is improving?
Yeah, I would say that definitely. I think when I first started climbing, I don't recall anyone coming from Ireland to compete. But now they've got some pretty good walls over there. So yeah, we've seen more of them.
So our first look then at men's number 3 and women's number 3. Men's number 3 is, well, you were just talking about proper climbing, Michaela. This is hand jams.
Yeah. I mean, when I say what I like to see, I personally am not that much of a fan of hand jams in competitions. I don't think they belong there, but that's just my opinion.
Getting controversial here on a Sunday morning in the commentary position.
Yeah, but maybe it's because I can't hand jam.
Say no more.
I always said if I ever see a hand jam in a final, I'm just going to walk out.
Walk out and walk off.
Yep.
Yeah, interestingly, in front of us, like I said, we are surrounded by the competitors and they are desperately taping their hands. They, in theory, haven't seen these boulders, but it's pretty obvious when you walk down the wall. You can see two volumes opposing each other. British competitions do have a bit of a tendency to have a hand jam or two in there, and the guys are rapidly taping their hands to try and make something, try and protect themselves a little bit in these hand jams. We'll get to see a lot more of that. It's the bottom left of your screen at the moment. That's Conrad between the black and the blue volume. It's a slotted open hand jam to begin with. That's a terrible description. I'll improve that as we go on. So a baggy hand jam to start with. Potentially get two hands in there, and there is a screw on in there as well. You can't see from that angle with Conrad.
Yeah, maybe it's a baggy hand jam followed by a fist jam. I didn't get the fist jam.
Yeah, I think there is a screw on in that slot essentially, and that's quite tricky to not block it, to block the second hand with the first hand. So you've got to go for the sort of the poor jam to begin with, and then make space for a fist jam potentially above it. Hand jams and fist jams, men's number 3 on a Sunday morning.
It's not for me.
Much easier to sit here and talk about it.
Yeah, luckily you see the hand jams more in the men's category. Oscar Phillips on men's 2, he's actually been making that first move look pretty easy. He doesn't even bother with the jump.
Yeah, we're definitely starting to see the climbers slowing down from the starting position, not paddling through into the zone hold. They're sort of stopping themselves on the second hold. Said, time will tell. The route setters did say that there might be a few options. Good look at the bottom right of your screen. First real look at boulder number 3, a real power boulder, lots of pinches, and the route setters said they really wanted to test that full hand strength on this one and not traditional dragging or crimping.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of boulder that I would like to see if I walked out on the mat.
I feel like you're setting out your dream competition here in the commentary position. We'll see this, we'll see that.
No jams, more pinches. Yeah, it looks like just straightforward slapping, which is fun. You don't get to see that much in a competition.
Yeah, a lot of times you see a lot of 3D climbing, a lot of volume base. That is just a flat wall with some pinches screwed up it. Looks simple, but definitely isn't easy.
Yeah, I think it's interesting the wall here. There isn't actually that much variation in angle between the different walls. So I think the route setters have to try quite hard to get that variation in styles. But I think they've managed to do that quite well.
Just focusing on the hand jamming section there, just so if you caught it, Conrad, walking away, rubbing his hand, going through the pain. He's in the pain cave, let's put it that way, jamming so far. He doesn't look happy with those jams.
He's rapid firing that hand jam. I mean, honestly, he's not jamming that badly. He's doing okay. But yeah, he's suffering.
Oscar Phillips now pushing up into interesting sequence there. He's ended up with his left hand up into this next hole, but we've seen other guys, they really want that with the right hand in there, but he's going to run out of time. You can hear the beeps in the background. That does end another rotation.
Yeah, that looked a little bit desperate from Oscar. I didn't think it was going to work.
So we are still working our way across the wall here. We are on our second rotation of boulders number 3. Still haven't had any climbers on boulder number 4 yet. Next climber's out, Hannah Hunt starts her campaign on women's number 1.
Hannah's another Catalyst creature. She's actually a junior, well not a junior, she's a youth A competitor, so she's pretty young. I think that just for her this will be an experience thing.
Yeah, I saw her in one of the Blockfest competition finals down in London not that long ago, and it was really inspiring to see her at such a young age taking on the big stage and yeah, really getting stuck into the competitions. as William Buck joins us in men's number 1. Let's just keep an eye on Thea Cameron then. Michaela, you called it earlier as one of the strongest competitors here, coming out quite early. Tops women's number 1, the only top we've seen on that one at the moment, and let's see how she gets on this next move, firing into these more old school powerful crimp positions.
Yeah, I mean with the old school power, she climbs Boulder UK, which is pretty known for its old school power bouldering, and I don't think she'll have any problem with this.
And exactly that has just gone down. Pretty sure that was a flash there. Thea Cameron walks away. She'll have another 3.5 minutes rest to add on to her 5.
Yeah,
perfect start for her so far. Couldn't ask for more than that, really.
Yeah,
2 boulders, 2 tops.
She'll be feeling pretty confident right now, I reckon.
Daniel Smith also looking pretty confident. This is him just pushing up into that position now. See that left tricep dip. This is what the route setters were looking for. That back step with the left hand.
Oh man.
With the left foot, excuse me.
That match looks grim.
Let's see if he can push up to that last hold and does just skid off.
Hannah trying to go statically on this move on women's 1. It can be done. And she shows it has been done.
Nice little kick out to the right, good composure from Hannah Hunt, but we know that this next section is full of power.
She's on the zone hold, trying to make her way towards this next penultimate hold. It's a big lock off. Oh, I think actually there's also, Thea did a little bit of a knee scum in there, but it doesn't look like Hannah saw that.
Yeah, left knee scum, and then ended up with the right heel. So let's see what other athletes make of that when we progress through the rounds. Men's number 1, on the other hand, Michaela, is just all pain and no glory so far.
Yeah, I think it's a really tough one.
Really got to be a master of the slab techniques coming out to that boulder. You can see William there just using the towel to clean his shoes. The mats here are sort of a PVC covered, and they do get caked in dirt quite easily, so that's not going to help when sliding down that first volume.
Yeah, they do get quite chalky. I think I'm not sure, but I think the idea here is to just like lower your heels and walk as slowly and calmly as you can across that volume.
Let's just keep an eye here on Daniel Smith. He's back into this position where he was before.
Ooh,
also got like a knee bar behind his hands there as he tries to reach through for that finish hold.
Yeah, I think he went without the back step. I think he found fitting into that space with the back step pretty difficult. He's one of the taller climbers for sure, but I think that you're going to need to have that back step to top that boulder. Got Catherine McDougall over on the women's 3. Haven't seen much of what she's doing on this one.
So you're just pulling into that starting position. From our angle here, just in front of the mats, you can see the strain on her face is just trying to establish into the starting position, so that boulder does look particularly difficult.
Yeah, that looks pretty rough. I think maybe she's trying to press up. I think maybe she wants to go down below and then come up on the right, although I'm not sure.
With 30 seconds left then.
Daniel Smith.
Yeah, Daniel Smith is going to have to be it. Oops. So just shake out on that zone hold. He has to go big now. Pushes up with the right hand. Could we see our first top here in the men's competition? Pushes for the last hold.
Ooh, just lost his foot on that back step.
Couldn't quite find the control in that position. Looks like he split a finger in the process. Rory Cummings joins us out on men's number 1.
Rory Cummings, another of our Irish contingent.
This is just a replay of that top there. Easy top from Thea Cameron. I had no issues with that whatsoever.
Yeah, Thea's like, have you got anything harder?
Yeah, well, hopefully. Women's number 3. Certainly looking harder at this stage. All action across the wall now. It's our first opportunity to see 8 boulders happening at once. Obviously there's a limit to how many climbers we can mention at the same time, as well as the number of camera positions we've got. We'll keep abreast of all the action. This is our first look on the bottom right hand side of your screen at women's number 4. Conrad just getting established, just about getting established on men's number 4 as well. And starting on the top left-hand side of your screen, Florence Brailsford starts her British Championship semi-final. 19 climbers here looking to get down to just 6 for tonight's final.
Ooh, Florence Brailsford's making good progress on women's 1.
Just keep our eyes here on Stephen Keir as well, opting to go feet first through that section as well. So we've seen 3 methods currently on men's number 2. We've seen paddle diners, we've seen feet first, and we've seen people going static as well.
Florence Brailsford looks like she's trying to hold the screw holds on that zone hold. Okay, yeah, she thought better of it.
Keep an eye on that left leg there. That's from Sophia Cameron, just scumming the knee against the volume. Doesn't quite find it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, that's one of the things that definitely separates between competitors. That ability to spot things that you wouldn't necessarily see from the ground on the fly, as it were.
Did you find that competing internationally, there was a clear distinction between those who were better at reading the boulders and those who weren't?
I think the difference is less clear internationally, because if you get to that point, you're probably already quite good at reading boulders. But yeah, I think in internationally it's more of a, some people are better at reading boulders from the ground, and some people are better at reading boulders, like feeling boulders, if you know. Like, some people think about it more intellectually and as a problem-solving challenge, and some people just get there and they're like, oh, my body will know what to do. Which is, you know, you see Yanya or something. I don't know how good she is at reading boulders. She just gets there and her body knows what to do.
Great insight here from our on-site expert, Michaela Tracy, who's... How many times did you win this one, Michaela?
Only twice, actually.
Only twice?
Yeah. Yeah, I have to wait until next year for the 3rd time.
Opting not to compete this year?
So I tore my ACL, my meniscus and my MCL in the trials for the GB team this year. So yeah, I've had to take pretty much the whole year out.
Florence Brailsford on the top left hand of your screen can't quite get back to her high point that she did on her first attempt, which she'll be very disappointed with. Time really clicking away now with just 1 minute 30 left on the clock, and still no progress really on men's number 1. Rory Cummings having a go on that one at the moment, really taking his seat on the struggle bus.
Oscar not loving this jam at the moment. Yeah, he looks like he wishes he could walk away.
Stephen now looking casual on the zone hold, but he's got the hardest move of the boulders still to come. Seen quite a few guys in this position now. They've got to squeeze into this penultimate hold, into this next box, trying to find that press down and left leg. Got to do something with the left leg to find position.
Yeah, it's weird. Actually, it looks like if you're a taller climber, that box is really hard to fit into.
Yeah, I think you've got to pull tremendously hard on that terrible right-hand screw-on. On that volume, there is a little screw-on jib added onto it. It's sort of a really flat 4-finger crimp, probably just a couple of mil in thickness.
Yeah, I think like you want to get a little bit higher on it than he was sort of trying to go straight up to the top. You kind of want to pull all the way up, get your foot up, be in a bit more of a secure position, and then go over to the top. But as I said, if you're taller, that is a very small box.
Joining us on the mats, wearing 82 on the far left-hand side, I will be reading them out left to right. It's Ian Davis. Joining us in the women's competition, Willow Petrovelli. Willow's also a climber I've seen quite a lot of over the competition season this winter. Really developing as one of the strong contenders.
Yeah, she's a junior climber at the moment. She's in the youth circuit. A bit more of a sport climber, I think. But you know, you can't afford to not be strong on the boulders. So
Well, I think these days with the Paris 2024 games being a combination of lead and boulder and speed as an individual discipline rather than the three sports combined, a lot of these climbers you'll see really getting good at both lead and boulder.
Yeah, well, I think that split makes a lot more sense, really, to have lead and boulder together and then to have speed as a separate discipline, because I think we saw in Tokyo a lot of climbers were trying to get, like a lot of climbers that were good at lead and boulder were trying to get good at speed, and actually they still weren't very fast.
Just keep an eye here on Thea Cameron. Just sorry to interrupt there, Michaela is one of our favourites. She's got 2 tops in this round already. She's really pushing towards the top on boulder number 3, and Thea Cameron setting this round on fire at the moment. She's looking absolutely stellar on the wall at the moment. 3 boulders and 3 tops.
Oh, I hope we get a replay of the start of that climb, because I didn't actually see her on that. But yeah, it's not necessarily unexpected from my perspective anyway. I think, yeah, like I said, qualified a little bit out of position, but looking good on these boulders.
Yeah, and down on the far right hand side, keeping our eyes on this women's competition, Catherine McDougall has struggled in this round so far, but is making good progress on those 2 holds. One's marked as the zone hole, which she's got there is 2 sort of upside down fun sprags. There's really not much on there. It's a slightly slabby wall, so it's inclined, and she's just pushing into 2 of the worst holds on the wall.
Yeah, I think this sort of teetery, bouncy slab is really where Catherine McDougall shines as a climber, so it's not so much of a surprise to see her doing well on this boulder.
You can see on the top right hand side of the screen, Will Buck also in this position right at the top of the wall. They can't really reach the finish hold from that position. The good bit is on top of the hold. So just pressing into the bottom there is not going to get you anywhere. To secure the top, you do have to have 2 hands in control, so touching it with 1 hand is not enough.
Catherine McDougall's foot just slipping a little bit on that hold. Those holds are very slippery, and I think maybe it looks like you need to pop a little bit for that last hold, so yeah, rough. Willow's up at the zone hold, staring down the penultimate hold on women's number 1.
Yeah, looks comfortable in that position. As well as do this hard press out from right to left from the zone hold.
Doesn't look like she's seeing that knee scum there. I'll try not to talk too loud.
Yeah, we are very close to the athletes here. We're right in the heat of the action. Literally getting smothered in chalk as we talk to you here in Sheffield City Centre. Atmosphere really building through this semi-final round.
Oh, going for the skip, it looks
like.
Yeah,
Willow Petrovelli, pretty sure she has secured the zone hold, but knee scums, but tries to go direct. Interesting with 1 minute 16 left on the clock, whether she will try that again.
It looks like, I mean, well, yeah, she's going to have to go pretty quickly after that last attempt. She was on the wall for a long time, so it's going to be tough for her.
William Buck here just trying something alternative as well. We've seen people trying to press down on the far left hand side of that boulder, and another guy's trying to press on the right.
Ooh, Hannah just popping off that hold there. Willow pulling on for 1 more go.
This is going to be it for Willow.
Catherine McDougall also up near the top of the 4th boulder again. Oh, do you see what she tried to do there? She tried to catch her toe on that hold. I think it would work like that, but her hip's just a little bit far out.
Hannah as well, pushing up on women's number 2. Just a few seconds left on the clock. Doesn't secure the zone hold.
Good effort though.
Yeah, slightly disappointed with that as our next rotation. Really interesting in the men's competition. We're joined by Billy Rydell, someone who's essentially all but retired from the international scene, competing for Great Britain. Decided to enter into this competition here.
Yeah, Billy Rydell also for me someone that's qualified a little bit out of position. He's shown that he's still got it basically. I think it was.
Just to interrupt for a second there, that's the replay we were looking for earlier. Thea Cameron missed the start of the boulder, but looked really solid throughout that top.
So strong, so strong.
Yeah, as you were saying, Michaela, sorry.
Yeah, Billy, I think earlier this year in the Plywood Masters, I think he might have won. So showing that he's definitely still got it as a competitor.
Joining Billy on the mat's got Louise.
Louise is a very strong youth climber. I actually expected her to qualify a little bit better as well. It seemed like she had a little bit of a difficult time in the qualification yesterday, but we'll see what she can do here today.
So as this round progresses, we've had climbers across all of the boulders now, and I'm pleased to say we're joined by one of the route setting teams, Zoe. Interesting round so far, not that many tops, especially in the men's competition, but Tia Cameron's showing us what she can do in the women's.
Yeah, I mean, because they obviously come out in reverse order as well, like it's not, we're not too worried about how, but there's a lot of climbing going on, not so many tops, but lots of zones and stuff.
And your team, well, you're part of the team here, there's quite a lot of route setters. It's been a good week for you?
Oh, it's been great, yeah, I reckon definitely like up there with one of the best weeks of work, yeah, for sure.
Nothing like a good week's hard graft.
No, I've got, like no skin, I'm really tired, but to me it's like the best job in the world, so.
That's awesome, and as this round progresses, any predictions, number of tops, anything like that? You and the route setting team, have we got the sweepstake going yet?
Not yet, we'll save that one for finals.
Obviously the final round will be coming later on this evening, and the boulders that you and the guys here have created, interesting spread, and men's number one in particular, not seeing much action at the moment, really sketchy slab to start.
Yeah, I mean, that, if you can stand on your feet on volumes on that one, you're off. We haven't seen anyone yet who can kind of teeter over, but I'm confident. Well, look, Billy, no.
Yes, it's a good spread of styles here. Not too much sort of jumping around in this tour at the moment. Potentially a lot more show in the finals for us later, without giving the game away.
Well, like when we set out to set around, we really want to make sure that kind of every style is getting tested. So jumps are one of them, but we don't want it to be a competition on who can jump the most. We want to be able to test all of the climbing skills, so we try and make sure each boulder really kind of tests something different. I think actually we've managed to do that quite well in both rounds, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that, and the British Championships does have that historical kind of old school style about some of the boulders as well, but quite a lot of fresh faces in the route setting team this year, including yourself.
Yeah, this is the first kind of big boulder set for me, but the more kind of diversity you can get in the setters and in the way that we climb, I reckon the better problems you get. Yeah.
And just to give fellow route setters, especially female route setters, a bit of a shout out, just tell us a little bit about your journey to get here and be part of this route setting team.
Well, I started doing stuff with GB Climbing a couple of years ago. They ran a setting progression program, and I was lucky enough to get on that. So I got the opportunity to kind of set for the team. I did a load of setting for team trainings and stuff over the winter, and it kind of went from there really. There's definitely kind of a lack of female route setters out there, so if you're young and kind of keen and psyched to work hard and learn, then there's space for you to kind of grow into. And I'm just lucky enough that I had quite a few people that were keen to show me the ropes and give me the opportunity to do it. And to me it's just as much a hobby as it is a job. It's definitely a labour of love. So.
Well, it looks like you and the team have done a fantastic round. Thank you so much for joining us in the position here in the commentary position. I know as a route setter it's usually so nerve-wracking to watch your boulders being tested, but do come and join me later on in the round. If I can grab you a little bit later for a little bit more insight, that would be absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely.
For now, try not to chew your nails too deeply and enjoy the rest of the boulders.
Thank you.
Always good to hear the insight of one of the professional route setters here on the team, an absolute inspiration. Loving the graft, that's what we want to hear. A real labour of love. Summarised it really nicely there. We're getting Zoe back a little bit later to give us a bit more of an insight into the round. Joining us on the far left-hand side of the wall, Louis Parkinson, aka Captain Cutloose as he's known on social media, very big social media presence. Has been working on his slab game a lot. Called himself Captain Cutloose, but not going to be enjoying the slabs necessarily. We'll see. He does like to say that he's been working on that quite a lot. Michaela, you've also hung around with Louis quite a lot in recent weeks and months. We will just keep one eye on the far right-hand side of the competitor of the moment there, Cameron.
I was going to say that Louis has been pretty good on the no hands, but it didn't look that good then. I mean, like Pythia on this last climb, honestly, she probably doesn't even need to do it. So, like, she'd like to do it, but I think 3 tops in the women's round should be 3 flashes. That should be enough to get through.
Yeah, just looking how the boulders are progressing. Obviously, we're about halfway through this round at the moment. There's actually a slight discussion going on amongst the judges, and the route sailors about men's boulder number 3 at the moment. The hand jams is potentially cutting quite a lot of climbers. And right in front of me, one of the competitors is putting an enormous amount of tape on a huge cut on her leg. So climbers absolutely putting their bodies on the line here. She's literally sticking tape to pure blood.
Yeah, that's Louise. She went for the knee scum. The knee scum on those volumes can be pretty rough. Like they don't seem that sharp, and sometimes it doesn't seem like that much at the time, but it can take up a good layer of your epidermis.
DNA being left out here on this round so far, absolutely brutal so far.
Ooh, Willow with a one-hander lander on that start hold. Stylish.
Interesting little hand sequence here. You see top right of your screen, Willow Petrobelli just flipping the left hand, so that starting hole gets used in quite a few different ways. It looks like a simple boulder, that one, but the start is actually quite tricky.
Yeah, I think on that move up to the zone hold, you almost need to be a little bit higher so that you can hold that one more as an undercling.
Will Buck there, trying something a little bit different on the hand jams. Hand jams haven't really produced any major results for people at the moment. It's definitely not a simple hand jam either. It's not like just slot it in and it sticks. It's very open.
Yeah.
Really baggy hand jam.
Yeah, I think for a bunch of indoor climbers, putting a very technical hand jam, yeah, it's definitely going to be really difficult for them.
Jamming is a conventional climbing technique, though in my books that is okay in a climbing competition. We'll agree to disagree on that one, Michaela.
Well, I'm just saying that they're not very practiced at it. Like, it's not something that they necessarily spend a lot of time doing. So I think, if you were to put outdoor climbers on that climb, they almost might fare a little bit better than some of these competition climbers.
Get some of the Red Sox brigade off of Stanage Plantation and get them over here to try this men's number 3.
Well, I think maybe there's going to be a little bit of an open session on these boulders after the semi-finals. So
you see a Willow Petrobelli pushing towards the top here. Women's number 2 looks like she's got it in the bag. Good work. We called it earlier, Michaela. Willow much happier on this kind of crimpier style. She was very comfortable up there once she got that bottom section sorted.
Yeah.
Louis having a wild time down on the slab.
Yeah.
Far left-hand side. Hannah Smith as well, another name with climbers all over the wall here. Hannah Smith getting a lot of support from the crowd at the moment.
Yeah, Hannah Smith was very, very, very strong youth competitor. Actually hasn't been competing that much recently. Is focusing more on coaching at the moment. But yeah, qualifying really well yesterday.
Looks like we will come to the end of another rotation. 5 minutes on and 5 minutes off for these competitors. They work their way across these 4 boulders.
The route setters putting a little bit of chalk in that jam there, trying to get rid of some of the blood. You can't see that on your screen, but we can see it.
So it's a replay here of Willow's fine top, wins number 2. Puts her straight into second position.
Yeah,
I imagine at this point, or very early on in the semi-finals here in terms of results. Still, we will bring those to you around halfway once we've got some meaningful results.
I think, it looks like women's 2 is definitely one that you want to top if you're wanting to get into the final.
joining us on the mat zone for the first time. Jamie Jenkins on men's number 1 and Emma Edwards.
Jamie Jenkins, I believe, just won the Junior British Bouldering Championship, and that was last weekend.
Let's just keep an eye here on men's number 2 as well. Billy Rydell, first climber, to really look really solid, pushing into this back step position.
Yeah, going all the way up and then around like I was talking about earlier.
Billy Rydell then pushing for the match from the top. Nicely done. That shows his knowledge and expertise. Billy Rydell's definitely still got it.
Yeah.
And on men's number 1, Jamie Jenkins, let's have a look there. A lot of action in the men's boulders at this stage as the women just trying to figure out the lower sections of theirs. First climber to push through the zone hold on men's number 1. One hand is on the top. It's an upside down dual texture hold. Pushes with the heel hook, gets it done, Jamie Jenkins. So tops coming back to back now. This is what we normally tend to see in these semi-final rounds.
That was really impressive by Jamie, actually. I think we've seen lots of climbers, including really good climbers, struggle on that first boulder, and honestly he made it look pretty easy.
Speaking of impressive, Louise Flockhart with that huge amount of tape basically holding her leg together. Tops women's number 2 as well, and that does seem to be one of the boulders that we do want to, well, you're going to have to start seeing tops on if you want to progress into that top 6.
Yeah, I would expect Louise to top this boulder. It's definitely within her wheelhouse. I think she was a little bit upset, or I think she would have expected to do the first boulder, and but it's good to see her come back from that with a good top on the second one. Emma Edwards is also one of our youth climbers on Women's 1. She has been doing her A-levels, so been doing a little bit more studying than training recently, but you know, I think if you're such a strong climber, that sort of caliber will always show. That is a very interesting method though, that toe hook. I'm not sure if that's going to work.
Yeah, you've got to find a way. Obviously, if it's not working one way, we've got a very limited time. Some climbers you'd like to see trying different things, but then some things definitely just aren't going to work.
Yeah, I think as a competitor, you have to try these methods, but I think you see that she'll probably make that assessment that method is probably not going to work.
Just keep an eye here, bottom left, Rory Cummings, obviously a maestro of hand jams, blood on the back of his left knuckles as he's looking really solid on men's number 3, pushing towards the top hold. First climber we've seen get anywhere on this boulder.
Wow.
That could be huge for Rory Cummings. There's basically no action on that boulder at all, and all of a sudden first climber to get to the zone gets to the top.
I mean, yeah, it's a very low scoring round, so to get one top is big. Yeah. Emma, I'm going to have to eat my words here. Emma did make that kind of whack toe hook work. She's got 1 minute left and she's up on that zone hold. See if she finds that little cheeky knee gun.
One boulder we've not really talked much about also is men's number 4. We know that the women's number 4, it looks pretty hard but doable, and we haven't really seen much action on men's number 4 at the moment.
Stephen Keir looking good on it though.
The next hold says a huge volume you have to press down is a very shallow mono. It's a 1 finger pocket.
Grim.
Very, very small one at that, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think on that wall those holds are just a little bit worse than they look.
I don't know, I think a mono looks pretty bad in most times of the day, to be honest.
No, but I mean the other ones, like the zone hold. Honestly, it's a pretty good hold, but the way that they put it and the footholds, this is not quite what you want.
Just as we pretty much take a breather on the mats here with a few seconds left of this rotation. This is the top of Billy Rydell replay.
Please give a round of applause for Jessica
First top on men's number 2 goes to Billy.
Really good top.
Jack McDougall will join us. Another international athlete joins us on men's number 1. Next to him, Gwyneth Utley. We've seen lots of Gwyneth over the last few years. Just so we look at another replay here. This was a nice top from Louise Flockhart. That heavy strapping to stop the blood on her left thigh.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Jack on this first boulder. I don't want to jinx him, but he is normally a very good slab climber, so I think this is definitely within his wheelhouse.
Those were our tops in the previous round. One of the crowd favourites, Louis Parkinson, gets underway on men's number 2, this sort of paddle dyno, as Gwyneth looks to snare this first move. Top left hand side of the screen as Jack McDougall just quivers his way across this slab with fine amounts of slab climbing skill. You called it here, Michaela. Jack McDougall looking very steady at the moment.
He's looking like he got a little bit stuck here. He's going to have to make that foot swap.
Yeah, he's actually crimping the back of the hold there before it goes for a conventional match.
Yeah, it's funny. Jack is a very good slab climber, but he never really looks that smooth. He just sort of like finds the right positions. It's interesting to watch. Gwyneth is a Sheffield local now. She lives here, like most of the strong climbers.
Have a look at Louis just flying across men's number 2 here. Let's see if he can get into that position that we saw Billy successfully push up into. He looks really strong on that right hand crimp here, Louis.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good.
Yes, Louis.
Nice, good top, good
Somebody who's really struggled on some of the bigger stage events as well. He's always got the potential, keeps up with the British team, not regularly on the training circuit, but has sometimes struggled on the big stage. So maybe this year is his year.
Yeah, I was talking to him before the competition. I think he seems a lot more relaxed than usual. He's just having fun out on the mats, which is, sometimes it's just what you need.
Interesting to see how Willow gets on women's number 3, bottom left of your screen.
Gwyneth sticking that dynamic move on women's number 1, moving up towards his own hold. You know, a lot of climbers are touching that zone hold, just not liking it. Oh, Gwyneth going for the skip, managing to reach past the zone hold. I think that is something that is possible if you are one of the taller climbers, which Gwyneth is. Nice, getting that match on the top there.
So all of a sudden the mats are much quieter on the left hand side as tops have been taken.
Yeah, I think definitely the top half of the semi-final see a little bit of a jump in the level, I think.
I think the athletes who are sitting with their backs to the wall at the moment, preparing for these next boulders, or currently on the wall themselves, they can clearly see that the climbing wall is empty to the left of them, so it just mounts up the pressure slightly, especially if they didn't find a top themselves. They know they have to start finding something here to push through into these top 6 final positions.
Yeah, it's a little bit, I think especially with this competition, you're so close to each other, you can really tell quite a lot about what's going on. And yeah, if you haven't done the first climb and you can tell that people are coming in pretty quickly from it, it does make you feel, it does put the pressure on.
Did you ever feel that? Did you ever let that get to you? Like, what is it like between boulders, sort of staring each other down? Can you smell the fear?
Normally it's other people that smell the fear.
You're giving them the eyeballs.
No, not so much like that. But you know, you have your normal personality and then you have your competition personality, and you know, maybe you're a little bit more competitive, a little bit more like, yeah, I did that boulder than you would ordinarily be.
It is a competition after all. We want to see people going head to head. We want to see people trying as hard as possible. This is Louis Parkinson's top. Replay of that on men's number 2. Mad psych to get that one done. Aidan Dunn will join us down on the left hand side wearing number 45. Next to him, Rosie Higgs, someone from the far southwest. Nice to see her all the way up here in Sheffield.
Yeah, it's good to see her. I've seen her a bit in the Blockfest. It's good to see her doing really well actually on the bigger stage. So
yeah, fantastic outdoor boulderer. Training a lot for the competitions these days, really pushing for those kind of team trial positions.
Yeah. Aidan Dunn, yeah, he's also generally quite a good slab climber, I think.
Let's keep an eye on Billy Rydell and Louise Flockhart just next to him. Billy goes straight into a hand jam wearing a significant amount of tape. He looks like he's made an entire crack climbing glove out of tape there. The judges are handing out tape left, right and centre here. As
yeah,
he
I
tries
guess
some slightly mad cross-through method and look of complete disgust as he walks off the wall.
Yeah, they don't want to see blood on those holds. I think Billy was trying to avoid doing the double jam, but I think the only person that we've seen do that boulder, he did go for the double jam. So
Billy just sparring with the route setters who are all lined up in front of that boulder, laughing away as they cause savage amounts of pain to the route setters, to the climbers. Sorry.
Yeah, I do think that route setters, they have a little bit of a, what's the word?
Masochistic.
Yeah. They like to see us suffer. Louise is gonna want to do this women's 3, I think.
Keep an eye on Jamie Jenkins here as well. We haven't seen much of him yet, but men's number 2 is starting to look really doable. If you can get in a comfy position on that right hand crimp and find that left back step,
he's
seems
not
to be
found
okay.
it so far. Well, looks like he might have figured it out.
Been pulling on that right hand crimp for quite some time now.
Yeah,
Can he stick it?
Oh.
Body rotating.
I think he was just up there for a little bit too long, but now he's found the position, and maybe if he has another attempt to maybe rest a little bit, can get up there, waste a little bit less energy and get into the right position straight away, I think he'll have a good chance of doing this on his next attempt.
Billy having another look at the slab. He's trying to sort of do a chop straight into a fist jam on the screw-on that's in there. Let's get the fist jam this time. He's fully committed on that right hand at this stage. A look of total pain on his face now as he tries to do this amazing cross-through method that he tried last time. That's really nice from Billy, going full 3D.
He almost went totally rogue and tried to put in a bit of a sort of heel toe cam, but I'm kind of glad that he didn't go for that, because that would have been sketchy.
Aidan Dunn just slowly teetering his way across men's number 1 on the far left hand side as Rosie Higgs just tries to figure out this little pop across to the right hand side.
Ah, yes. Aidan, another of our slab climbers. He sort of made up towards the top hold. He's looking pretty good.
Yeah, there's this cheeky little foot swap here.
Ooh.
Does make it work. That's that left heel. Nicely done. So men's number 1 and 2. And men's number 3 all now been topped. Women's number 1, 2. I'm pretty sure 4's been topped as well. Trying to keep up with all the action.
1, 2 and 3 have been topped. I think 4 actually has yet to be topped.
Well, let's have a look at Florence on there at the moment, just trying to figure out these 2 upside down sort of thumb sprags.
Yeah, it looks like that position is kind of okay, but then really hard to get out of. Ooh, Jamie just slipping off. Slightly in the wrong position here. But he rested so long since his first attempt. He's really going to have to get a hurry on now.
Billy Rydell, full 3D now, feet above his head.
Oh my god. Oh
left
god.
foot is locked in. Left hand is locked in. Right foot's coming to join it. This is incredible stuff here from Billy Rydell.
Okay. He really wants this. I mean, like...
15 seconds left. Billy Rydell is in 100% commitment here.
Yeah, it's
completely
going to have to be a little bit of a buzzer
moment.
beater here. He's not got that much time.
Does secure the zone hold, but it has been there before. This is working for Billy, but he has completely run out of time.
Just runs out of time. Crowd loved that though. Loved it. I'm just glad that he didn't fall and break his neck.
And roaring coming. And welcome to the stage, Jolene and Nathan Phillips.
Joining us in the competition then, we are into our top 6. It's Nathan Phillips and Joe Neem. Nathan, another big international competitor, has made World Championship finals before. Stepped away from the competitions this year internationally, but is back here for the British Championships. And Joe Neem, really great to see Joe Neem, originally from London, North Londoner. been up
Yeah.
in Sheffield for quite a while now, hasn't she?
She's been around. I think she's been
Leeds,
in Sheffield.
yeah.
She's also been in Leeds. I think she lived abroad for a little bit as well. Hasn't been competing that much, but yeah, I think from what I've heard, she's back. She's psyched.
And strong
Jack
work from
McDougall,
Jack.
easy top on that one.
Really interesting spread of scores at the moment. I'm pretty sure soon enough we'll try and bring you some results as, yeah, good split across lots of different attempts at the moment, different things from different climbers.
Yeah, it would be good to get an update soon. Midway update.
Parkinson starts in the pain cave that is the boulder number 3 hand jam, looking really solid through there.
Yeah, Louis been
Trying the
practicing
same
his
method.
hand jams, I
Yeah,
think.
same method as Billy in some ways with the right hand fist and then the cross through.
I think that method is a little bit of a sucker. I think it feels like close, and you know, Billy made it work, but he did some pretty rogue stuff. I think you want to go for the match jam. Ooh, Hannah Smith with a solid looking knee bar on female 3. There's a lot of knee bars in this round actually, more knee bars than I've seen in a boulder round for a while.
So we got slabs, we got knee bars, we got paddle dynos, we got crimps, we got hand jams.
A little bit of everything.
Yep. Exactly what our route setter was telling us earlier. Whole plethora of climbing skills required here. Louis Parkinson just chops his right foot out again and needs to find something on this. Interesting 3D method again, going right foot high. This is what we saw from Billy.
Yeah, Billy did something. Billy went all the way. He did like a full 360.
Who knows what Billy was doing up there? Whatever he tried, it didn't work.
I don't know. It would have worked though. It would have worked. He just ran out of time. I mean, I don't think even Billy knows. I think if you asked Billy to repeat what he did, he wouldn't be able to.
Willow Petrobelli on the far right hand side, looking very relaxed in this position, but it seems very difficult to stand up into that last move. You can see the feet just shaking as he does slip away.
Yeah, those holds, they're really slippery for both your hands and your feet, so I don't think you can step up slowly. I think you have to weight them quite quickly, which is not a nice feeling. Lots of climbers resting at the moment.
Louis trying something again here.
He really doesn't want to do that jam match.
Yeah, I think
He's not into it.
There's a screw on in there that's really confusing the athletes, but this is looking better. The left hand wrap from Louis. Savagely difficult move to try and hold that next sloper, which is the zone hold from there. It's turned into a real puzzle, men's number 3 there. It's a lot of route reading required, and now there's chalk building up everywhere.
Over on the left-hand side, Nathan getting up close to the top of number 1.
Yeah, with
it's going to be a little bit tight in terms of time. He's going to have to figure it out. 10 seconds left. Oh, he's not seeing. Oh. Yeah, I didn't see that foot swap there.
Yeah, he did just run out of time. Disappointment there from Nathan. That could be a really early upset. One of the favourites.
Yeah, I think to miss out on the top of that one, I think that is going to be a difficult thing to recover psychologically from.
Yeah, if you are new to climbing, he did have 2 hands on the top pole, but it wasn't in control. He was still moving when he touched it. If you follow cricket, we could have that discussion about what determines holding something in control or not. Different sport, we won't get into that right now.
I know nothing about cricket. Edie Carr coming out for the women's. I think she's quite a younger competitor. We haven't seen her in the final here before. She's made semi-finals before, but qualifying really well.
Yeah, and Tommy Matthews is also one of those competitors we've seen quite a lot of over the years. Good to see him pushing into the top end of his semi-final round.
He's more of a ninja warrior these days. Well, they're looking really good on this slab. Good for a ninja.
You know nothing about cricket, I know nothing about Ninja Warrior. Let's stick to what we know. Stick to climbing. Another climber with Louise down the far right hand side. She had that great top on number 2.
Louise is generally quite a good slab climber, but this climb is proving very difficult. I think for Louise, I think if she wants to get into the final, she's going to need to top this boulder, because she missed out on finishing women's 1. So yeah, pressure's on for Louise.
I would say pressure's on across the wall here at the moment with some tops, but not that many. If you do find a top, it can be massive here in Sheffield for this semi-final round. Low scoring round so far.
Apart from who was it earlier?
Men's 4, women's 4.
No. Thea earlier, who just came out and flashed 3 boulders.
Have a look at Aidan Dunn, top right hand side of your screen, looks really solid.
Yeah,
number 1. He's eventually figured out the method here, going down left before pushing back upright into his undercut volume with a small right hand screw on.
Yeah, I think ideally he would have his right foot a little bit further along that foothold, to get a bit of a better stance there.
That over rotation on the right foot, that top hold is not good. It's like a side pull to the right hand side.
Yeah.
Coming from low and left, so it's really hard to stop the rotation.
Yeah, I think if you have your right foot a little bit further up that hold towards the right hand side of it, then you have a bit of a wider stance. You can avoid that rotation a little bit. But because his foot was further down, he was just pivoting on it. Oh, Tommy looks like he's trying to go dynamic now, but I think you'd have to work pretty hard to make that work, because the holds are not very good. There's nothing really to grab if you jump. Ooh, is that a hands-off rest by Louise? Louise getting up pretty high on this last women's boulder. I think this will probably be her last attempt, so staring down that top. She really wants to get this top if she wanted to have a chance of getting into the final tonight, which I'm sure she'll want to do. Just starting to rain a little bit.
Yeah, conditions definitely deteriorated here as the 45-degree Great British summer rain comes flowing into the commentary position.
And it really does actually make a difference, the conditions. Even if it is a little bit more damp or a little bit more hot, it makes a big difference to how these holds feel. So that might be a little bit challenging for some of the later competitors.
Aidan Dunn pushes towards the top on men's number 2. Judges gives him the thumbs up.
Close. Almost a buzzer beater, but that's 2 tops now for Aidan.
So as we get through the next rotation, pleased to say you've had one of the diehards of the British route setting scene, Percy Bishton, just join us here in the commentary position. Percy, not part of the route setting team this year, but how is it as a casual spectator?
That's great, but you know, on the other side of the fence a little bit, not involved in the route setting anymore. After the Olympics, I decided to retire really, and part of retiring is not doing it anymore, which is a difficult bit because route setting is a pretty addictive thing. But yeah, so it's really cool. It's really nice just to let some of the younger setters come and have a go. So a lot of the setting team here, Jake, Zoe, they're people who were involved with the route setting course I did for GB climbing last year. They've come on in leaps and bounds, and obviously it's awesome to have new setters, new female setters involved in national level comps, and hopefully they'll go on to do international level comps.
And one of the styles you're known for, really in some ways introducing or pushing in the UK, was the crack climbing style, and there's a pretty savage looking crack here today. Are you enjoying that one?
Oh yeah, it's mega. Obviously what route setters are always trying to do is they're trying to get the climbers to fall off. I mean, we want them to be successful, we want them to climb to the top eventually, but we want them to show us a good fight while they're doing it, and the way to do that is obviously to set stuff that they're not very good at, or if we set stuff that they can do all the time, it's a bit boring. So run and jumps and that sort of stuff, they're all really good at that. Jamming more traditional climbing techniques, they have their place in comp climbing it, and they're a great tool for the route setters.
Yeah, really good insight here from Percy Bishton. Percy just alluding to the fact that he was the head route setter for the first ever climbing Olympics in Tokyo 2021, as it turned out to be. Any predictions here? You've been talking to the route setters. There is tops coming here, but there's not a lot.
So I think that it's a classic semi-final round, so the really big hitters are going to come out at the end. The people who qualified in the highest spots from qualification will be out at the end of the semi-final round, so we'll see all the big hitters come through at the end. My money's on the true dark horse, the real unknown quantity here, Tyler Landman, who's I think qualified in 3rd place yesterday. Ty was, I had a chat with him the other week, and he was just like, "Oh, is it the British Championships? Maybe I'll just drop in and have a go at that." But I only climb a couple of times a week, and I ride 300 miles a week on my road bike, and kind of not really climbing that well at the moment. But he's still qualifying 3rd in the national championships, and it'd be awesome to see Ty do well.
Yeah, looking forward to Tyler. A couple more climbers still to go before he comes out. Climbers on the mats at the moment. Sam Butterworth, who's, well, he's not on the mats, he's left the mat, he's done and dusted. But Eugenie Robinson-Lee, women's #1 climber from London, really gone up through the youth ranks and worked her way through pretty much every competition around the UK for quite some time now. Really great to see Eugenie. As Louis Parkinson is one of the only climbers really making progress at the moment on men's #4. And Percy, that boulder, we haven't actually seen that much action towards kind of past the zone. There's a penultimate hold which is just the most disgusting looking mono pocket, shallow, grim. Don't see many of those in a competition these days.
Yeah, I mean the wall here is it's not super steep. There's I think all the profiles apart from the slab on the left hand end are overhanging just gently, but there's nothing super steep, and so obviously the setters have gone for something that looks very balancy and technical, and the top move, like you say, we haven't seen any tops on this one yet, either men's 4 or women's 4, so we'll see as the stronger guys come through at the end. It'll be interesting to see some of the top qualifiers from yesterday try it. I mean, certainly we were talking about Ty Landman before. It certainly looks like something that he might enjoy. He likes something a little bit more old school and crimpy.
Just keep an eye on Eugenie on the top left hand side of your screen with just 20 seconds to go. A really nice little 1-2 catch, but can she finish it off? Just leaves the heel hook with the right, pounces into the shoulder. Good start to competition. She had to work for that one though, Eugenie Robinson-Lee. We do end that rotation. Percy, I'm going to bring Michaela back. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully we'll grab you for a few more minutes later on in the round.
Yeah, no problem.
A couple of tops as we were just talking to one of the kind of old guard of route setting here in Sheffield and across the UK, Percy Bishton. Michaela's back in the booth. Michaela, how was it stepping back from the commentary position for a little bit? We had a pretty gnarly rain shower there for a second, but yeah, still good conditions on the wall.
Yeah, I would say props to all the competitors for being, they're not competitors, well, for the spectators for braving the rain to watch. It's pretty difficult out there. Two new competitors. We've got Tyler Landman on the men and Jem Wood for the women.
Yeah, you wouldn't have heard, but Percy was just talking about Tyler. He said he's really excited to see him back here. I was told, I have to give it the fact check, but every time he's entered the British Championships he has won it. But apparently not really climbing much at the moment, but somehow still ends up in third from the qualification round.
No, he's more cycling at the moment, which you can see maybe on your screen from his pretty impressive tan lines. But I think, you know, he's a really strong climber, really strong competitor, spirit of a champion, so definitely he's still got it, but this first climb, he's going to hate it.
Tommy Matthews here on men's number 2 looking good. Jen Wood as well, always seems to be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, I think Jen Wood's a really strong competitor, a really solid competitor. I think if she can figure out this second or third move on this boulder, this bottom section, I think she'll have a good chance of getting to the top.
Good to see top there, just right on the buzzer there from Eugenie as well. In the previous rotation, she's literally sitting right in front of this moment, still popping hard after putting everything into that first boulder.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Jenny going so well at the moment. You know, she's been around the scene for a long time, and I think she's made a real step up in terms of her climbing recently, so cool to watch.
Aidan Dunn's one to watch out for on this ham jam boulder as well. He seems to have found something a little bit different that seems to be working for him. The little screw on that people have been fist jamming against, you can't see it from that angle, is inside that right hand volume on the edge of it.
Yeah,
really.
It seems like there's a real difference between people who can do this boulder and people who can't jam on this boulder. Like, you know, I think you see a little bit more of a variation in degrees on the other boulders, but this one it's either black or white. You know, you can or you can't. Oh, Jen looking solid through that lower section. Reaching up to the zone now. See if she spots the method on this last bit. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can see the experience. You can see the experience there. Oh, just a little bit of a, I don't know. It looks like she maybe lost tension a little bit, popped off on that penultimate hold.
Yeah, we have seen a couple of the athletes just sliding down that left-hand foothold, the one that she's just brushing at the moment. It feels lots of chalk build-up. There seems to be maybe making it a little bit more skiddy on there for the left footers. Tommy Matthews on the right-hand side of your screen, trying something a little bit different here. Manages to get a match on the lower black volume and up with the right hand. That's really nice work from Tommy Matthews. That could be huge as well.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive actually. Look, he kind of did that final section in a way that we haven't seen done before, and it looks honestly really hard to do it that way. So yeah, impressive that he can manage it.
Jamie Jenkins putting in a really big fight alongside Emma Edwards on the far right hand side of this was the competitors in front of us just stand up, getting ready for their next rotation. 1 minute left for these guys to find something on this final boulders here in the semi-final round of the British Championships 2023. If you have just joined us, we're over halfway through this semi-final round. We've got 19 climbers who are trying to get down to just 6 for tonight's final. That final starts around 6 o'clock tonight, so have some sandwiches after this and come and join us later on for a bit of bouldering action. British champion will be crowned tonight.
Well, Jen also going for the skip. If you're strong enough, it looks like that method is preferable. And Jen definitely is strong enough.
Yeah, nice little top there with just 10 seconds or so left for Jen, so good composure to keep that together, find a different method, find something that worked, and ultimately getting it done. Aidan Dunn, used a lot of effort into men's number 3 there to no avail.
Tyler looking pretty pleased to be done over on men's 1.
Next climbers on the mats, 2 very excited people to watch. Ben Preston from just south of London, down sort of the Southern Sandstone sort of area, Tunbridge Wells.
Yeah, I think Ben Preston used to compete on the youth circuit, took a couple of years off, but he's back and he means business. He wants to be up there, he wants to be competing with the likes of Max Milne and Hamish Yeah, it's Hamish MacArthur. Oh no,
Hamish. Let's go with Hamish.
Let's go with Hamish. Yeah, so he wants to have this opportunity to prove himself.
Yeah, it's like a robotic level of focus and wizardry in terms of technique. But Tara Hayes also alongside him. Tara going strong once again, route setting as a profession these days, and still training, still looking really solid as a competitor.
Yeah, I mean Tara is such a strong climber. I think always qualifies really, really high. I don't think that we've ever seen like the best that Tara can give us in like a semi-final and final. But maybe this year's the year.
Gwyneth Utley looking pretty solid down on the right hand side as well. We've seen many climbers getting into this position, controlling the zone holders as he reaches up for it now, but struggling to stand off of those ledges and into the last hold. I think that one's potentially surprised the route setters a little bit. I think they were telling me anyway they felt like this last boulder was okay, but in terms of results so far we haven't seen that.
Yeah, maybe the climber's just a little bit nervous on that last move, or maybe they're tired from the previous boulders. That's also something which I think is easy to underestimate as a route setter.
Sam Butterworth just flying across the screen there as well, men's number 2.
Yeah, he's looking pretty comfortable here.
Yeah, super solid in the right hand. Just, if he can control this position, just needs to carefully rotate on that right foot. Almost managed to keep his body all the way over to left. Yeah, really good body tension up there for Sam.
Easy top. Ben also, I wouldn't say that the slab is necessarily his strongest suit, so more of a sort of power climber, I'd say. So I think for people like Ben and Tyler, it's just a question of, you know, if you don't make that first boulder, can you keep your head together and can you give your best on the next 3? Because it is such a low scoring round. Just because you haven't done the first boulder, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to make it to the final.
And I think that is a real skill of the better athletes, is to, when you walk away from a boulder, if you haven't completed successfully, not losing your lid and just keeping it together and just drawing a line under that one and just focusing on the next couple.
Yeah, because you know you can't carry that boulder up all the other ones.
Good knowledge there from Michaela Tracy. Athlete representation here in the commentary position. As Nathan Phillips lines up for something entirely different there on men's number 3. Tara pushing towards the top of women's number 1. You think if you really could do with this one?
Oh, Eugenia looks like she's making good progress on women's number 2, doing that big dynamic jump move up near the top. I think now she's on the crimps. You would expect her to be able to do this last move. Ooh.
Solid from Eugenia Lee. Did really well there just to keep an eye on the left foot as she was flying towards the black tape.
Yeah.
Good experience on show there.
You could see her trying to like kick her feet backwards. So that's 2 climbs, 2 tops for you, Jenny. I think, yeah, I would say it's looking pretty good for her so far. You know, also these first 2 boulders as well, they're quite powerful, dynamic boulders, which I would say in the past has been something which has been a bit more of a gap in Jenny's climbing. So, yeah, to see her top these ones, I think when you get over to sort of female forwards, a bit more technical, I think you see her do quite well on that one. So, yeah, doing well.
Not masses of action on female 3 as we see Jonine trying this big powerful pinch boulder. Only Thea Cameron has smashed that one so far. If you can find something on women's number 3, you're definitely looking good for this round. Gwyneth Utley is also struggling down on the far right hand side.
Yeah, a lot of climbers getting up into this position, just not quite being able to move to the top holes.
So a better look at those sort of 2 undercut con sprags.
It's really hard to get your foot like wholly on that foothold.
Final climbers to join this semi-final round. That gives you an idea that we're pushing on here. It's Diane Akhtar and Holly Toothill, one of the big favourites here. Holly comes out wearing number 1, qualified in top spot from the qualification round yesterday.
Diane is also a really interesting climber, really strong climber, coming up through the youth categories. I would say he's quite a complete climber. You know, he doesn't really have any obvious weaknesses, and I think that he would be a pretty good bet to be in tonight's final, but we'll see how he deals with the slab.
Ty Landman then, one of the favourites coming into this, multiple-time British champion, is top right of your screen, wearing number 106, looking really comfortable on the left-hand palm down now. But we know it's all about moving that left foot up, or you just go for all power and roll over. Let's have a look at Tyler on this next move. Pushing toward the top does come short. We'll have to find something a little bit different.
Yeah, I think he'll have to find that back step. Oh.
Potentially surprising as well there from Holly Tootill, proving that women's number one is. Got a couple of quite low percentage moves at it at the start.
Yeah, it looked like she wasn't maybe quite sure what to do with her body when she was in the air, but I think she'll have a better idea of what to do now. Sometimes with a move like that, it's quite hard to know exactly what you need to do the first time. So you have to do something and figure out if you're vaguely in the right place, and then you can feel, oh, well, maybe I needed to kick my leg a little bit more, maybe I needed to give it a little bit more momentum or a little bit less, that sort of thing.
Just going to ask you, as somebody who's been on these mats many times, what's it like coming out to a round when you are the favourite, you're the last out, you've been sat in the isolation zone for quite a number of hours. Is it a different mindset? Is the pressure different?
I mean, it depends who you are, right? Like, I personally don't like it because I almost prefer to be the underdog. But some people really like it. They really feed off of like being the best, like qualifying in first. So it depends who you are as a competitor. I find it not lonely, but the pressure is quite a lot more.
Tyler Landman back into this high position. He did have a little look around for the left back step for a while there, but he is going back to this original method, just trying to power up with the right hand. Left hand undercut on that screw on, matches it, works his way up to the top hold. In composure here, Ty Landman.
Yeah, he does have a little bit of power to spare, so I think that really helped him there.
Tyler was known as one of the world's strongest outdoor boulders for many years, quite a long time ago now, but obviously still showing he's got the credentials when it comes to indoor bouldering competitions.
Yeah, I think also especially he spends a lot of time in the United States, and the style there is very powerful, so I think like on those power boulders that will show, but they don't have that much of the slab, so there's a sort of flip side there.
Pressure mounting here for Holly Tootill, someone who's been competing internationally the last few sort of weeks and months as well.
Yeah, I mean she will be a little bit tired, and also, you know, Holly doesn't have that many weaknesses, but these really shouldery boulders, that is something that's a bit more difficult. But Aidan Dunn just slipping off the last move of men before. I think that's the closest we've seen so far.
Yeah, there's been next to no action past the zone hold on men's number 4 there, but also Rosie Higgs was pretty close on the top hold as well, so we are starting to see kind of climbers pushing for tops thick and fast now as we get through to the tail end of this semi-final round.
Did he have that little shallow mono you were talking about?
Sadly for him, he did, yes.
Disgusting.
He just used it as an intermediate, that's pretty much all it's good for, I imagine.
Yeah, to intermediate and to flip your hand or something.
Yeah, we'll see. Potentially just use it to bump across in the final. You can see it on the bottom right hand side of the screen there. The final volume does have a very small screw on screwed into it as well, just to improve the last hole very slightly.
Some of these athletes running out of time on these boulders.
Yeah,
Holly Tootill probably time for one more attempt.
Holly's going to have to dig deep on the other boulders if she doesn't find something here on women's number 1. Tommy Matthews just snaring in and out of those cracks. The crocodile jaws of men's number 3 as Holly's got to go now, as Aidan Dunn has to as well. Just 15 seconds left for both of these guys. Holly's looking solid, but Aidan does drop with massive amounts of frustration, boots his chalk bag on the mat. Pressure really on now for Holly Tootill. Probably not going to happen in the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, I got a little bit suckered into going a little bit too far to the right on that zone hold. Definitely looking a little bit frustrated on that climb. But I think that there's enough space left in the next 3 boulders that she can bring it back.
Top from Tyler. The cycling tan, you did mention that. That's
strong.
That's a strong look.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely this is the sort of boulder that will suit Tyler more, will suit Ben more. See how he gets on the jam. Is that a replay of Jen's top on women's 2? I mean, I think she topped that so quickly I didn't even see it. Stealth top.
Straight into the wide screen then. So boulder number 1 is complete. No more climbers to come. We are into the final rotations here in the semi-final round as Ben Preston presses up.
Yeah, Ben's looking pretty solid so far.
I'm pretty happy with that. Ben Preston presses. Put that one in the tank for later.
You commentators with your puns. You see, he's spending like quite a long time up here just to sort of figure it out. Got a bit of spare power, so he has enough time. Doesn't need to rush.
Yeah, he's doing that off the knee bar as well. You can see him across the top of your screen.
Ooh, just slipped out of that one.
Interesting.
Maybe needed to keep his body a little bit more to the left there, but I think he'll figure that one out.
And he was knee barring on top of his fingers there that really hampered him to go up for the match.
Gross.
Jenny Robinson-Lee, let's see what she can make of women's number 3, because she's got 2 solid tops so far. Another knee bar.
Yeah, they're really loving the knee bars this round. Looking solid.
This is really good from you, Jenny.
Yeah, I mean, now that she's through this section, I think she'll have a pretty good chance of doing this boulder.
Big, powerful rollover.
Is that the commentator's curse?
I think that's what they call it. Looks solid on the right hand, but just came up short on the next pinch, which is rotated quite vertically. As just in the top left of your screen, you can see Tara Hayes with a really techie heel hook to try and find this next move. A lot of the female athletes have been jumping into that side pull.
Tara looking a little bit tired. I think you know, a lot of climbers do combine route setting and competing, but honestly, it's quite a lot on your body.
Absolutely, yeah. If she's been route setting at all this week, you can see how fatigue might start to kick in by the time you've been competing all day yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Jonine working her way through this just horrendous looking upper section on female 4.
Yeah, I have to say I'm pretty glad that I don't have to climb that boulder. It looks pretty grim.
In the comfortable position, the wind kicks up, blows the papers across the desk. But the breeze will be good for the athletes on the wall. Friction, such a huge part of competition climbing. Really great conditions for hard moves here, especially on a lot of these big fiberglass holds.
Ben getting up towards the top again on men's number 2.
Will he try a different approach here? It does look like he's going to go for the same method, dropping in the left hand to match. Got to find control here. That's really nice. Up with the right hand, and does bring it in using the right hand knee bar for Ben Preston. Good shot from him.
Yeah, I think that puts him back in the round.
Let's keep an eye side by side. 2 of the seasoned competitors here. Eugenie Robinson-Lee wearing number 5. One of the only few athletes to get towards the top of women's number 3 as Nathan Phillips comes flying off beside her, really close on men's number 4.
Yeah, I think we only saw Thea up on the top of female 3, and I think she made it look a little bit sort of deceptively easy, because I mean, if you want to talk about women with power, like she has a lot of power. Yeah, it looks like it actually is quite challenging up there on those pinches.
An interesting dynamic that's come into this competition is the fact that men's number 3 is a really heavy duty bit of crack climbing, because after number 2 they're all sat right in front of us and all desperately trying to make something out of their tape to make some sort of crack climbing glove, and that's it's a bizarre dynamic which I'm not quite sure if I like, because I've just seen somebody come across the wall wearing essentially a perfect tape glove, which they pulled out their chalk bag. So yeah, somebody's let on somewhere that there might be some hard track climbing in this round.
But I think it's more sort of something that the competitors expect these days, because it is something that you see, and so if it's something you see a lot, then it makes sense to have a crack glove. I mean, who wouldn't?
This is the top, well, that was the near top from Ben Preston. That's the one that he made work in the next attempt. It's Holly Tootil. Pressure mounts on her as she starts to just brush the holds and prep for women's number 2. You would have thought, Michaela, that Holly really needs women's 2, because multiple athletes have topped that climb now.
Yeah, she'll need to do this one in order to get back into the game. I think it is definitely something that she can do, especially if she can manage that first run and jump. The holds are pretty good. She's strong on the crimps. I think she can do it.
Tyler Lammer currently looking quite settled in that crack. Just got to try and find the right method in there. He was thumbs up, then he was thumbs down.
I don't know. It doesn't look like he likes it that much. You know, it's funny. Tyler is quite a sort of, if he doesn't like something, he doesn't like it.
He lets you know that he doesn't like it.
Yeah. Some climbers are like, well, you know, we're competitors, we'll just get on with it. Oh, check out Diane's very, very cool method on the men's tube. Yeah. Looking really good.
Just seeing there, Holly Tutti as well. We said she needed it and she's done it with ease. One of the strongest we've seen on that boulder. Absolute walk in the park. Women's number 2 is Diane. Just comes stumbling off the top, completely over-rotating on the last move.
Yeah, it looked like he rushed it a little bit up there. Yeah, Holly maybe looking a little bit tired. Maybe you can tell that the fatigue from the season. I think she was supposed to be competing in Villars this weekend, but chose to give that one a miss.
Yeah, Villars in Switzerland is the IFSC League World Cup that's taking place over Friday and yesterday.
I think you can underestimate how much it takes it out of you, traveling around, competing weekend after weekend, not having any time to properly train.
Tyler just lining up for another attempt on men's number 3, just trying something a little bit different. We have seen a few guys try that sort of jump method, but to no avail, jumping into a sort of guppy catch on the black volume with the little thumb screw on there, and jumping into the hand jam with the left hand. That's Diane, Tyler, Jen Wood and Matthews on the mats at the moment. Tyler looking really solid in the hand jump, pulling his feet up really high, but not quite knowing where to go with the next hand. Let's keep an eye on Diane now. Michaela, you said that he looked really solid through this bit on the previous attempt. Let's see if he can find a top here. He has had the last hold in both hands before.
Yeah, no mistakes this time.
That's nicely done. Pulling in the power on the left foot to stop the rotation.
Yeah, he didn't look super comfortable in that space, but he did make it work.
That means boulders number 1 and 2 are now complete.
Tyler looking good on this jam, and then just falling out of it.
That's what I'm saying. He just seems to be a little bit lost to know what to do with the next hand.
Yeah, maybe he wishes he could walk off the stage as well.
Unfortunately, if you walk away from this, you're not going to become British champion.
Yeah.
So just in the shot there on the top left hand side scene, Ben Preston has been taping this right hand for the last good 5 or 6 minutes, preparing a beautiful tape glove to try and protect and try and help gain purchase in this crack. Let's see if it works for him.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good glove going on. Jen Wood on female 3. A little bit surprised that Jen hasn't made more progress on this one, because she is such a powerful climber. You'd think that this would be something that she would be pretty good at. But it looks like those footholds are getting quite slippery actually. Ooh!
Tyler makes something work here, crosses through with the right hand. We saw Billy Rydell and Louis Parkinson trying elements of a similar technique.
Looks like
Please, a round of applause for Edie Clark and Thomas Matthews.
That's Diane's top that we had a good close up. I thought it was going to be his top. Big sandbag.
just went a little bit too fast there. Yeah. I think now we're going to see his top. We see it takes a little bit more time. Yeah, maybe he was a little too confident in the first attempt. It's like, oh yeah, it's fine. I'll just top it.
This is Holly Two-Tail's top on female 2.
excited to see what Jenny can do over on women's number 4. I know that she normally really loves this type of climbing, so it'd be cool to see if she could top it. Tara on women's 3, I mean, she's going to really need to do something on women's 3 because I think the first 2 boulders she wasn't able to top, so gonna need to try hard.
Sam Butterworth there on men's number 4 as well. Let's see what he can make of this sort of sloping ramp volume. He's got sort of a double thumb catch on the sloping ramp at the moment, and up to a big fiberglass sloper.
Looking pretty good so far. I think he just touched, he went with his left hand to the zone first, trying to make sure that he's given that zone, but I'm not sure if will the judges give him that?
Probably not. We'll see. I have to be honest, Michaela, I wasn't watching that boulder at the time, so I can't wouldn't want to hang my hat on any decision there. I was watching Ben Preston trying to crimp a hand jam for a second there.
Classic. Jenny moving up into the zone on women's number 4. See if she can make this one work. She is very tall, so maybe she can even reach from here.
Does it? You've got to commit to that final move. Just a little pop out of the double undercuts. Barely even undercuts for them. It's just 2 upside down sort of thumb pinches.
Nubs.
Thundercuts.
Classic thundercut move.
Can't push out to the last move there, Eugenie, though.
Ben also not loving the hand jam.
He's now bleeding out of 2 parts on his thumb, sadly. So it's he's going to basically have a full mummification of his hand.
Definitely a Marmite boulder, this one. We've only seen 1 top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very impressive it was too, with the method that the route setter suggested.
Yeah, just going straight jam.
Sam Butterworth looking pretty solid on the slope at the moment. He's having a good round so far. He's going to push out to this now. As he pushes up, have a look at this next hold. It's a very shallow mono hold. Looking comfortable on it. And pushes towards the top hold now. Lines it up with a big over rotation. Superb work on men's number 4 from Sam Butterworth. That will
really
do him no harm at all. Good round for him.
Really good catch on that last hold. Just took his time, went a little bit slowly. Is that the first top we've seen on that one? Hard to say.
Action thick and fast across the wall here. We will bring you results at the end of the round.
Yeah, definitely at this point in the round it gets quite hard. You're sort of looking at the climbs, trying to figure out who's top what. I think two tops in the men's is looking pretty good. 2 tops in the women's actually is looking pretty good too. Not a high scoring round. Ben trying to go double dyno to the two screw-ons there. Not sure if that's going to work.
These 3 climbers on the mats. Eugenie's looking the best in terms of the scores of the overall round, but with only 30 seconds left, looks like Tara Hayes might be walking away. Ben Preston is still battling, but if they want to find a place in tonight's final, something special is going to have to come out.
Eugenie already has 2 tops, so I think, yeah, she may be in tonight's final already, but
yeah, she did take quite a number of attempts, but not that many climbers have actually topped 2 boulders. She has a look at a slightly different approach to this last move. Well worth an effort over the last few seconds there for Jenny, but that does end her round. Shortly we'll see if that has been enough. As Diane and Holly start boulder number 3, Tyler needs to find something really big here on men's number 4.
Here we've got an update of the scores. Yeah, two tops in the men's is looking pretty good so far, but there's a lot of men on 1 top. So yeah, I think for Tyler, he'll have to do this one. Holly also will have to find something on either women's 3 or on women's 4.
We will bring you the women's results as soon as we can. You see the flags in the background there. This is the good breeze across the park here in Sheffield as Tyler Landman just drops the last move.
Close, close. Gonna have to take his time a little bit more on that one. Diane going, it looks like going straight for that jump. I don't know if he's gonna get much joy there.
And a lot of heartbreak on that boulder. Jen Wood now. She could definitely do with something here as well. I've seen a lot of these athletes getting into this position and getting that left heel hook on seems to work quite nicely, but you get a little bit pinned and it's hard to stand up into that top move. Holly
Moving up very quickly into
I was going to say, sorry Michaela, I was just going to say the real pressure's on here for Holly as well. No top for her on number 1. 2 got done, but we have seen multiple tops on number 3 now. Well, 1 top with Eugenie really close as well.
Yeah, I think this isn't ordinarily the sort of boulder that I would say Holly would be her favourite type of boulder, but yeah, she looks like she really wants this, so she's going to try and make it work. Yeah, possibly looking a little bit tired.
Jen Wood going for that last move as well, off the top floor as we saw with Eugenie Robertson-Lee. Tyler he's been in and around the last hold on this boulder then. With a low scoring round, this could be huge. You can see the women's results there as we keep an eye on Tyler at the same time. It is here Cameron with those initial 3 early tops that was so impressive as Tyler punches up for this last move. He's been there and this time he secures it with 2 hands. That will be very nice for Tyler Landman.
Just managing to keep his foot away from those sponsor stickers, which honestly were put in a bit of a bad location for that move, because I think if he put too much pressure on them it might be invalidated, but he did manage to keep his foot away from those. I think 2 tops.
Just looking at those scores there, Michaela, Holly Tutil needs to find a top over the next 2 boulders somewhere. She's currently out of the top 6. Jen Wood on the far right hand side of this competition wearing number 3 is in the finals at the moment. These are provisional results. They are desperately scrabbling around getting results in as they can from the score sheets from the judges. Jen Woods finds something here that will be a very comfortable position through to finals. She's looking really solid here. There you can see the scores in the top right hand side of your screen again. Eugenie Lee, she has done her 4 boulders and is in. Jen Wood currently sitting in 3rd place with 2 tops in 7 attempts. Louise Flockhart, really good effort from her, finding 3 zones importantly.
These results I think are a little bit incorrect because they haven't shown Holly's zone on the first boulder.
Yeah, these are live from the previous rotation. In the background, let's just keep an eye on Jen Wood. Oh, nicely done, jumps for the top hold, drags the left toe hook. That's really nice work.
Wait, did you see what happened with Diane? Did he manage to make that jump work?
Here's Diane Actor.
Up near the top now.
Can he find a top here to help secure himself a place in the final? Pressure really mounting, just trying to find something on the left foot. He surely doesn't want to go through this section again.
Looks like he just got
slips away.
He couldn't find a position. He couldn't think quite clearly enough to find that position.
He's going straight back on though, Michaela. He's in full battle mode here, but he's only got 5 seconds left.
I think he's going to run out of time
here.
Really
solid on the hand jams, but it's not going to happen.
So unfortunate for him there. Yeah, I think now the pressure's on for Dan on this last boulder. You know, I think he can make this boulder, and since he's got the zone on the 3rd boulder, I think if he can top the 4th one, it will put him in a really good standing. But yeah, we'll have to see.
That was Jen's really nice top. She's easily through to the top 6. That puts her in tonight's final.
And that toe hook, that was a toe hook that we saw one of the other competitors quite early on trying to make work, and I don't think anyone saw it up until Jem, but yeah, she made it work really nicely.
That was the replay of Diane there, just sliding off the top move. Let's hope that doesn't come back to bite him in terms of the results. It's going to be enough for him to get through. But it's Ben Preston who needs to find a mere miracle here to get through to the finals, along with Tara Hayes, who needs something similar.
Yeah, but Ben is also, you know, like Tyler, he's good at grabbing holds, so I think this last move here is really about grabbing holds, so if he can get hands on it, I think he can do it.
Looks for the rotation of the left hand. You can see the way he drops the head, helps him push the left down, and there's that horrendous little mono crimp. Is he going to be able to gain some momentum with his left foot and push for the finish hold? Two hands on it, but doesn't make it happen. We saw exactly the same with Tyler, but Tyler did go on to top it.
It's a little different for Ben. Ben, I think he wasn't as set up as well for that move. So Ben, he had to really push across with more momentum, which meant that it took him off the wall. I think Tyler had less momentum the first time. So I think Ben will have to find a more comfortable position so that he can go up with a little bit less power.
Tara on the mats there, looking pretty beaten up by this round.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not your round. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to get up and keep trying, but she's doing a good job of that. It's so hard as well if you don't do the first one and you know that people have been doing it, to sort of be able to recover mentally from that. And yeah, sometimes you can recover mentally from that and then get beat on the second one, and it's so difficult.
So Ben and Tara running down the clock, trying to dig deep for one final time on these last couple of boulders. Resting such an important part of this game as well. You only have a few minutes to attempt each boulder. Don't want to go too early, but you do need to go early enough to give yourself a few attempts.
Yeah, I think Ben knows that he definitely can do this boulder, so
yeah, he's had two hands in the last hole but didn't get it in control.
he also knows that I think he knows that he needs to do this boulder.
All or nothing here for Ben Preston. Really wants to push his career on in the competition scene. Could be huge for Ben and for Tara, climbing side by side as some of the final action here in the semi-final round of this British Bouldering Championships. Ben Preston goes again for the last move and drops it again.
Yeah, again just a little bit too much there.
Tara setting up this last move as well. And she finds something here. Tara doubles to it, finds the left toe catch and a little stem out on the right. Good work from Tara Hayes. That's going to be really interesting in terms of results.
Yeah,
what a way
really,
to dig in there for Tara Hayes. True
really
grit.
Amazing to finish her round on a high there. Yeah, I think she'll have to wait a little bit. It'll be a stressful wait for her because yeah, I think it's possible to get to the final with one top because this round was so difficult, but it will come down to attempts.
Yeah, and a number of zone attempts to zones as well, so we'll wait and see on that one.
Ben running out of time on this last boulder. One more attempt.
Been in the last hold twice. He's had it in his hands twice.
Ooh.
Big moment here for Ben Preston. Oh, just slips off the top of that hold, but hasn't really wasted too much effort or time on that attempt. He's going to go straight back into it. Is not a fast boulder in some regards, with 23 seconds left. Ben Preston, has he got anything left in the tank?
Just slipping off that zone hold.
The answer is no.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed with that, I think.
Final rotation here in this semi-final round. A breezy and chilly morning here in Sheffield, but great conditions for hard climbing. The final throws of the dice then for the Diane Akhtar and Holly Tootill. What will they find? What will it mean for tonight's final?
I think Holly would really like to find a top here. Whether she needs to get that top, I'm not sure, but
yeah, she's going to want to be absolutely secure in her placing for the final tonight. She sat right next to Tara Hazel. She came down from this one, so it's going to be very obvious that Tara did top this boulder.
Diane as well, yeah, hovering on the bubble, I think. If he can do this one, which I think is within his capacity to do, I think that he'll have a pretty good chance of being in tonight's final, but yeah, he'll have to forget about dropping the top on M3 and just get on with the bouldering.
Yeah, it seems just a small couple of minutes since we saw Diane Akhtar dropping the top of men's number 3, but he's back into action on men's number 4 as Holly Tutil, looking really solid on this first initial sort of setup moves, tries to find a balanced position here.
Yeah, looking really comfortable.
Both climbers really kind of in the exact same positions on the wall in terms of height, and both looking quite comfortable as Diane Akhtar goes for the first finger sort of shallow crimp of that last move. It's a really interesting press on that last hold. There's a screw on in there that's really not very good quality.
Yeah, I think you saw Tyler went with 2 hands for that hold, and I think with 2 hands it's a little bit easier to grab.
Holly Tutil does get it done, and with ease. Showed her class there, showed her experience. Good work from Holly.
Yeah, taking the pressure off a little bit. I think now with 2 tops and I think she did all the zones, I think she'll be definitely in a bit of a better position than she was a few boulders ago.
Producer tells me we will be bringing you the up-to-date results at the end of this round. Do cling on. I hope you've enjoyed this semi-final so far. With Diane Akhtar, the final athlete on the wall here this morning.
It was cool, you know, it looked like almost Diane could get a toe hook to grab that last hold on the hold that's underneath the long black volume. So yeah, it looks like maybe either saw one of the climbers earlier take that big swing, just managed to hold the swing, maybe do a toe hook or 2 hands like Tyler did.
Pressure must really be on here for Diane. Quite a large crowd has built throughout this semi-final here in the city centre of Sheffield. He's the only guy on the mats, all eyes on him. Was the top qualifier from yesterday, came out in last position today. Best climber in theory. Can he link it together here?
A lot of pressure.
Pressure mounts as Diane's back up onto the zone hold. It's all or nothing now.
Pressing towards that grim mono. See how he tries this last move.
Pushes towards the last move. Big pressure, doesn't find it. Fumbles the last move, and a look of pure disappointment on his face.
Just swings himself off there.
Does have time for one more attempt. At least 1 minute 15 seconds.
I think it will be one more attempt. If he gets one more attempt at this last move, I think he'll take his time because he did look a little bit tired on that attempt.
Yeah, he might run the clock down for the last sort of 40 seconds or so. We've seen Ben Preston slipping off these early moves a couple of times as well, so there is a bit of jeopardy at the bottom of the boulder.
Yeah, you can see he's not rushing, he is taking his time, he is an experienced competitor, so he knows he only has 1 attempt left.
You can really feel the tension in the crowd here, everyone knows what he needs to do. Almost an eerie silence drops over the crowd before he pulls on, and he does slip on the first move.
Yeah, I think it's hard, his mind's on the top of the boulder, but he needs to kind of keep it in the present for a little bit. Definitely running out of time though.
10 seconds, this is going to have to be a buzzer beater here for Diane Akhtar. Pushes towards the top with 7 seconds left. There's the mono. Can he find it in time? 3 seconds, 2 hands. He does. Diane Akhtar gets it done. Incredible athletic performance there. Right on the money.
Yeah. No, I can't believe he did that then. Yeah.
What a way to finish the round with the pressure really mounted the final climber in the final seconds. What a moment.
Seconds.
Superb effort from Diane there.
Yeah, he's happy.
And what a way to finish what was a a brutal but quite enthralling semi-final round here in Sheffield city centre. We will bring you the results as soon as we have them. A really interesting round, Michaela.
Yeah, really interesting. I think you saw a lot of, in the men's, you saw a lot of people sort of doing well on some boulders, but then having a bit more trouble on other boulders, and then you also sort of had a flip of that. In the women, I mean, really it was dominated by Thea.
Yeah, that's Thea on your screen there. She came out, she was the 5th climber out on the mats and just started to dominate across the wall right from the very beginning. Made us think, oh, maybe this round is a little bit softer than potentially would have thought. This is a couple of Thea's replays here. I think this was the only top. We'll have to double check against the results. This is potentially the only top we saw in women's number 3.
Yeah, I didn't think that. I knew that Thea just, I mean, you know, maybe she has qualified a little bit low yesterday, qualified out of position, but came out ready to fight today. Yeah, I knew she had it in her.
It was quite a difficult round in some ways to keep a track of, because we saw tops on all of the boulders in the end, but it was some surprise results in there as well. Tyler looked like he was struggling for a little bit, but then pulled it together right at the very end.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of climbers on 2 tops, so I think it will maybe come down to attempts for those climbers. So yeah, honestly right now I don't know who's going to be in the final. Apart from Thea, I think we can definitely say Thea's in the final. I think also Diane, we can say that he's in the final, because I think not that many climbers got 2 tops and 3 zones for the men.
The boulders, there was no giveaways out there as well, which was really good to see. There was no sort of like here thanks for coming boulder, that every boulder had something about it.
Semi-final, you can't do that in the semi-final.
And to have one boulder in men's 3 and women's 3 with just one or few attempts for tops was really impressive. So one boulder that really gives the route setters an idea of where they need to be for the level of the finals, because now obviously the athletes get the chance to rest for a little bit, but the route setters get a chance to think about the boulders that they've set for tonight's final and potentially make any little tweaks that they might need.
Yeah, maybe make a few minor adjustments.
As we just look through some of the replays of some of the really impressive tops throughout the round. Louise Flockhart was really impressive and gained momentum as the round went on. She had that huge sort of call it a scrape was a bit of an understatement on the left leg. There was a fair significant amount of damage on there, but managed to take that up and crack on was really impressive.
Volume rash. I think we call that volume rash. I've had a volume rash once that took like 2 weeks to heal. It's I don't know, for some reason they take forever. Is this our only top? Our only top of the... So smooth, easy.
Yeah, that was Rory Cummings. We saw that was a truly impressive display of crack climbing and composure to top that boulder. We'll see where that leaves Rory in the final standings. But yeah, we saw Diane on the top move as well. Really disappointing for him to go through all of that pain and to actually not top the boulder.
I know, but at least he got it back on that last boulder.
I found this boulder number 1 really interesting in the men's competition as well. It seemed to be, if you can walk across the slab, you did okay. There's a little bit of slipping on the last move, but generally speaking, it was a real heartbreaker right off the mats as well.
Yeah, I was very sort of specific in what it tested. Like, are you good at standing on your feet? And if you're good at standing on your feet, you can do the boulder. And if you're not good at standing on your feet, or if you don't like standing on your feet, you're just not going to do it. So.
Interesting how slab climbing has really developed over the last few years to be one of the harder skills, when originally I suppose slab climbing would have been more of a traditional, the early days of climbing standing on your feet would have been kind of bread and butter, but now with so many powerful and dynamic boulders that some of those skills are being lost slightly.
Yeah, I think one of the best trainings for like standing on your feet I've ever done is just climbing on gritstone, because you have to stand on your feet. And I think that's like a skill that maybe was lost for a bit, and now it's coming back again.
Just seeing multiple replays of our tops here. Jack McDougall, Aidan Dunn in the previous round. So just we are hearing that there's a number of technical appeals in terms of the results. So we will be waiting on the results as we go through, and we'll get the delights of Michaela Tracy for a little bit longer, which which I'm not sure if you're too happy about considering how cold it is and the wind whipping through here. It's not exactly summer days and strawberries and scones at the moment.
Yeah, I have to say I didn't really prepare for the weather. I did not bring a jacket with me today, which was a bit of an error. Because the last year was so hot. Last year was, I mean, as a climber, it's probably better for it to be like this because it does get really hot climbing in the tent. But yeah, as a spectator, you know, could do with a little bit more sun. I heard that was going to be like a free-for-all session on the semi-final boulders, but I'm not sure if that's still happening.
Yeah, good question. What Michaela is referring to there is when all the athletes or anybody who fancies to go can have a bit of a go on the boulders. We'll see if that happens, but at the moment we are in an appeals situation where essentially we are waiting for the judges to make any final scoring before we flash up the scores for you, because obviously going through to a final of British Championships is still a huge achievement for a lot of these guys, and they will be putting an appeal in if they need to. Generally that occurs if there's a discrepancy between what they thought happened and what the judge thought happened, and there is an element of judging involved in this. Judge could determine whether there's an issue with control of a starting position, a zone or a top as well.
Yeah, I think, well, I didn't really see any tops that I thought were borderline, either in terms of time or in terms of control, so I guess the appeals would have to be for the start position. I mean, some people must have been watching pretty eagle-eyed.
Yeah, quite a few of these athletes will have their individual coaches here as well, keeping an eye on the rounds.
Yeah.
They are able to put an appeal in, and the head judges here will have a look at it and see what's what.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the bubble, then you're going to put the appeal in.
Michaela, whilst we've still got you and we're waiting for these results to come in, I remember watching you in the World Championships finals. Remind me of the year. 2018 was it?
2014.
14.
I know, so
Time
long
flies.
ago. Yeah. Sometimes it almost feels like I made that up, but
it's still a dream.
It did, yeah, it did actually happen.
And what's the biggest achievement, would you say? Like you've been around the competition circuit for a while, and a lot of big things that happened to you. You come and went a little bit, and you've just been so spectacular to watch over the years. What stands out at the highlight? You've got these British Championships, but they're very different to a World Championships as well.
Yeah, I think probably one of the highlights has been last year, so coming back to the British Championships after a bit of a time away, and being able to win that round. I mean, that was probably one of the highlights of my climbing career. Like it's really amazing to go around the world and compete all over the world, but coming home and being able to win in front of like what really still feels like a home crowd.
What's it like competing here? We're very sort of central in terms of Sheffield. It's a very knowledgeable crowd. It's quite a big field, big stage.
Yeah, the atmosphere here is crazy. I mean, like the crowd is bigger here than I've seen in some World Cups over the world. Like definitely lots and lots of people watching, a lot of support, a really involved crowd. Yeah.
We're just waiting for the final results still to come in. The judges are running around doing everything they can to scrape this together due to the number of technical appeals. As we watch Jen Wood on the highlights, who had a fantastic round. I'll be very surprised if she's not second or third.
She's one of our top qualifiers, I think.
We will bring you the schedule to remind ourselves what we've got ahead of us here later on this afternoon. Yeah, so there we go then. 5:30 we will be back for the presentation of the finalists and the observation period. Climbing tonight starts at 6 o'clock. That's the top 6 climbers, 4 boulders, and just 4 minutes to tackle each one after that observation period. So we are expecting the big show tonight, and with the crowd. 8 o'clock roughly, the final finishes here. Hopefully the weather stays with us and the crowd stays here as well. There's all sorts of catering and trucks and music and everything. It's absolutely brilliant down here in Sheffield City Centre. If you are local, if you are local, you can come down later to watch it, or you can join us, of course, on YouTube. But for now, whilst we wait for the final results, we will go to a few VTs of our partners here in Sheffield.
Lots of people consider the outdoors as a free space that's open to everyone, but for a lot of people it really doesn't feel that way. So we've brought you here today to find out one thing: is the outdoors an equal space? Take 3 steps forward if you have no sole care responsibilities.
I found it really difficult to get my kids outdoors because I can't afford the equipment for them.
Take 3 steps forward if you have access to a vehicle.
I have to rely on the unreliable public transport.
Take 3 steps forward if you've never had a disability or a long-standing health problem. If you've always been able to afford to access the outdoors.
When I went on one of my first treks, I did not have the right equipment.
The sole carer of 4 children, I found it really difficult to get my kids outdoors because I can't afford the equipment for them.
My aunties and uncles, they split and bought, I don't know how much it costs, but it's Gore-Tex, I'm guessing it's quite expensive. They split and bought it for me as a gift.
If getting outdoors has always been part of your family or community life.
Yes, I know speak to my parents. I've had to have other people influence me to go out and things like that.
My mum, she's really into the countryside and everything, so she always took us out.
If you don't have that connection, if you don't have someone who show you out there or take you, how are you going to find out about it?
Take 3 steps forward if you've never struggled from a mental health condition. Take 3 steps forward if you always see people like you in the outdoors.
Sometimes I'm the only black person in the outdoors, and when I go climbing, most people often ask the question, "You're a climber?"
Like when I go outside, I don't see people like me.
Take 3 steps forward if you find it easy to find kit in your size.
I'm a size 20, size 22, and I was struggling to find good technical clothing. When the weather conditions get tougher, you're actually putting yourself at risk. I started looking at mountain rescues, and a lot of it was down to people not having the right clothing gear. And actually, for me, it's because I can't get it. It's not that I don't want it, I just can't get it.
Now look around you and see where you are. We've all got the same hill to climb, but we don't all have the same start line.
I'm very conscious, and particularly in a way that I wasn't years ago, that I have been very fortunate.
There's quite a gap. That's what I realised when we were there, and that gap could be due to not having a good relationship with parents and whatnot. They're usually the ones to incentivise their children to take part in stuff like this, and not having them around can impact multiple areas.
I want to give myself a big pat on the back for the resilience that I've sort of displayed in my life. Actually do make the effort to be in green spaces despite whatever, despite the challenges I have to kind of make that happen. I make it happen, but I'm proud of the fact that my daughter was a couple of steps ahead of me.
Today I genuinely feel bad. I think we're all happy to kind of operate in our own little world, aren't we? And we just kind of, I'm going to go out for a walk, and you don't really take the time to think about the fact that actually there are others that would possibly like to do this and they just can't. Yeah, absolutely, access is not available for everybody, not in the way it should be.
There are a multitude of invisible barriers to the outdoors for many people, which disproportionately affects marginalised communities in society. An estimated 2.1 billion in health costs could be saved if everyone had good access to green space.
The pleasure and the life-fulfilling experiences one can have I'm just so sorry that it's not so easy for others to experience the things that I have. And it'd be great if more people had those opportunities.
Please share this video to show your support and help us push for an outdoors that is truly accessible to all.
If I'm setting a comp, the first thing you do is you choose your holds. And having good holds, stuff that is inspiring, stuff that is different, that doesn't look the same as everybody else's, is always the key thing. So as setters, if there's something new, there's something exciting, something we haven't seen before, something that we haven't played with, that we want to experiment with, then that's kind of what inspires us. You say like a route setter is like a conductor with an orchestra, and they've got lots of different stuff. They've got a climbing wall, they've got holds and volumes, and the idea is to bring it all together to make something which is beautiful.
Nice, mate. Come on. Come on. Come on. Hold it. Come on. Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Get on it. Come on. Come on, Ian. Yes. Yeah. Yeah!
I think I joined the BMC when I was about 11 years old, so I could compete for, or try to compete for GB and enter all my regional competitions that I was so excited to do. I also think the BMC could improve EDI by making climbing more accessible for all sorts of people, for example, families with low income or people in the city who just don't have access to the outdoors or don't see it as a place for them. The The BMC ensures that we can all have access to climbing crags across the country and that everyone using them is looking after them. They're clean and the rock is in good quality, so that's really important to me as an outdoor climber. And then for competitions, they ensure that I can get away and actually be insured whilst I'm competing, which not many insurance companies actually do, so that's really important to me. And lastly, they are really keen on promoting diversity within climbing, and it's so nice to work with an organisation that shares the same passions as I do and has the same ideals and visions for where climbing should be. I hope as a BMC ambassador I'm able to be a role model for those people who might not see themselves looking the same as other people within the climbing community. So hopefully I'll be able to reach a new audience for the BMC, but also speak to their climbers who've been going for a long time. I think climbing has changed already quite a lot because of the Olympics. There are loads more climbing walls across the country, and also I think the style is changing so that even the easier boulders are a lot more fun and interesting and more like comp style, so people can really have a go at what they've seen at the Olympics at their local gym.
Hi there, hello, and welcome to City Climb, where we take a look at our favourite climbing cities, sing its praises and tell you why we love it.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Ness.
And today we're here to tell you all about Sheffield!
Sheffield is known as the climbing capital of the UK, and it's not hard to see why. It has no less than 5 major climbing centres, easy access to the Peak District, and some of the best outdoor climbing in the country.
And best of all, there are literally thousands of site climbers like us, so no wonder people have been coming to Sheffield to train, climb, party for many years now.
So let's take a look at the indoor climbing walls. We're here at the Foundry Climbing Centre, which opened over 30 years ago and pretty much launched modern day climbing.
There is just so much history here. Probably most famous is the unique Wave Bouldering Wall, which is as well loved today as it's ever been.
So on the other side of the history spectrum is the Hangar, Sheffield's newest climbing centre. And like every other wall in Sheffield, it's buzzing with climbers from beginners to experts.
As well as this, we have awesome walls with its lead, speed and bouldering. We have the ultra-modern depot, and finally our personal favourite, the Climbing Works.
Truly Sheffield, you're simply spoiling us. So as a climber, why do you love Sheffield?
I just love the whole community of it. There's so many people that you see every day, and like everybody knows everyone, so you always have someone to go climbing with. And of course the Peak District is just right there, so if it's a nice day you can just nip out before work and have a great time.
How important do you think the Sheffield climbing scene is?
Well, I'd say Sheffield is the mecca of UK climbing.
Yeah.
I've been climbing for around 7 years in Sheffield now, and everybody's really friendly and it's just a lovely place to be.
So how do you find the walls in Sheffield?
I mean, I've really been enjoying climbing recently. I've had membership for about a month and a half, and I've been coming like every other day, kind of 3-4 times a week. Yeah, it's really good.
Indoor, outdoor? What about outdoor climbing?
Well, you have come to the right place. The Peak District is right on our doorstep and has more brilliant climbs closer to more people than you could shake a clipstick at.
This BMC guidebook has some of the best climbing on gritstone, and these two hold more than 3,000 traditional and sport climbs on limestone. Mind-blowing.
So for gritstone, the easiest place to get to is right here, the beautiful Berbish Valley, just on the outskirts of town, an easy 20-minute bus journey from the city centre. And once you hop out of the Fox House, you are on the doorstep to 700 brilliant climbs, from moderate to E10, and 300 boulder problems from the easiest to the very hardest.
Oh wow, should keep you busy.
Should keep you busy.
And for sport climbing, it's only a quick hop down the hill to Horseshoe Quarry, with over 250 climbs in the 5s, 6s and 7s.
Now, if you're venturing outside for the first time, be sure to check out the BMC Respect the Rock video series. These short films give you a little heads up into some of the things to consider before taking your first steps outside.
So a great way to start getting outside is by joining a club. And today, we're joined by Jen, the president of the Peak Climbing Club.
So Jen, what could we get out of joining?
So it's a really good opportunity. It's sociable, you can get out and organise meets, you can learn new skills, and it's all about joining the community.
Oh, sick. And can anyone join?
Absolutely. Whether you're starting out, it's for everyone. Everyone's welcome.
Oh, I think we're definitely sold. So we are joined by BMC Ambassador Molly Thompson-Smith. So Molly, what attracted you to Sheffield?
Well, I moved up from London a couple years ago, mainly for the climbing community and to be close to the Peak District.
Oh, nice. And so how are you finding it so far?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm still here. It's much easier to focus on my training for the World Cups, and it's just a slower pace of life compared to London, which is really enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this seems like a definite recommendation from Molly.
So there you have it, a little taste of what Sheffield has to offer if you're a climber. For more information about the walls, climbing outside, the clubs and all the work the BMC do, be sure to check the link in the description.
We've been living and climbing here now for 4 years, and we've got to say that for us, it's a thumbs up Sheffield.
If I'm setting a comp, the first thing you do is you choose your holds. And having good holds, stuff that is inspiring, stuff that is different, that doesn't look the same as everybody else's, is always the key thing. So as setters, if there's something new, there's something exciting, something we haven't seen before, something that we haven't played with, that we want to experiment with, then that's kind of what inspires us. You could say like a route setter is like a conductor with an orchestra, and they've got lots of different stuff. They've got a climbing wall, they've got holds and volumes, and the idea is to bring it all together to make something which is beautiful.
Lots of people consider the outdoors as a free space that's open to everyone, but for a lot of people it really doesn't feel that way. So we've brought you here today to find out one thing: is the outdoors an equal space? Take 3 steps forward if you have no sole care responsibilities.
I found it really difficult to get my kids outdoors because I can't afford the equipment for them.
Take 3 steps forward if you have access to a vehicle.
I have to rely on the unreliable public transport.
Take 3 steps forward if you've never had a disability or a long-standing health problem. If you've always been able to afford to access the outdoors.
When I went on one of my first treks, I did not have the right equipment.
The sole carer of 4 children, I found it really difficult to get my kids outdoors because I can't afford the equipment for them.
My aunties and uncles, they split and bought, I don't know how much it costs, but it's Gore-Tex, I'm guessing it's quite expensive. They split and bought it for me as a gift.
If getting outdoors has always been part of your family or community life.
Yes, I know speak to my parents. I've had to have other people influence me to go out and things like that.
My mom, she's really into the countryside and everything, so she always took us out.
If you don't have that connection, if you don't have someone who show you out there or take you, how are you going to find out about it?
Take 3 steps forward if you've never struggled from a mental health condition. Take 3 steps forward if you always see people like you in the outdoors.
Sometimes I'm the only black person in the outdoors, and when I go climbing, most people often ask the question, "You're a climber?"
Like when I go outside, I don't see people like me.
Take 3 steps forward if you find it easy to find kit in your size.
I'm a size 20, size 22, and I was struggling to find good technical clothing. And when the weather conditions get tougher, you're actually putting yourself at risk. I started looking at mountain rescues, and a lot of it was down to people not having the right clothing gear. And actually, for me, it's because I can't get it. It's not that I don't want it, I just can't get it.
Now look around you and see where you are. We've all got the same hill to climb, but we don't all have the same start line.
I'm very conscious, and particularly in a way that I wasn't years ago, that I have been very fortunate.
There's quite a gap. That's what I realised when we were there, and that gap could be due to not having a good relationship with parents and whatnot. They're usually the ones to incentivise their children to take part in stuff like this, and not having them around can impact multiple areas.
I want to give myself a big pat on the back for the resilience that I've sort of like displayed in my life, which they do make the effort to be in green spaces, despite whatever, despite like the challenges I have to kind of make that happen. I make it happen, but I'm proud of the fact that my daughter was a couple of steps ahead of me.
Today, I genuinely feel bad. I think we're all happy to kind of operate in our own little world, aren't we? And we just kind of, I'm going to go out for a walk, and you don't really take the time to think about the fact that actually there are others that would possibly like to do this and they just can't. Yeah, absolutely, access is not available for everybody, not in the way it should be.
There are a multitude of invisible barriers to the outdoors for many people, which disproportionately affects marginalised communities in society. An estimated 2.1 billion in health costs could be saved if everyone had good access to green space.
The pleasure and the life-fulfilling experiences one can have. I'm just so sorry that it's not so easy for others to experience the things that I have, and it'd be great if more people had those opportunities.
Please share this video to show your support and help us push for an outdoors that is truly accessible to all.